but I don't know if anyone can see it, but that's where Fred spends his whole life. He sleeps in there. Marie comes and delivers him food underneath the door sometimes when he's doing his religion reports. But really, this is you're going to get, and Fred's going to get his steps in, Sue, because he's got to go back and forth between here and our studio just to get the guests on the line and everything like that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of like driving a rental car.
Yes.
You're just learning how it works.
Yes.
But we're only going to be here temporarily.
Well, but did we get the insurance? Because I never do.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we should have gotten the insurance. So we're all, honestly, God, we should have put a social video, deal together of what just happened in here about 10 minutes ago when everyone was trying to show me what to do and you guys what to do. And we were playing musical chairs and all this other stuff. So anyway, I guess the message for the audience this week would be a little bit more patient than you are used to, because we make some, when I say we, I might make some mistakes, because the other thing is I'm the only person here that runs his own board that's a host. The other hosts have the producers here, and my brain capacity is actually very, very small. I think that's on display on a regular basis. So I have to train my brain just a little bit differently with some of the buttons. How did everyone's weekend go?
Mine was great. You know what? I thought the weather was nice. Mother's Day was fantastic.
The weather was beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. We went down yesterday. I don't think I showed you this, Fred. And Sue, you usually take a peek at my social media.
I do.
But did you see Max running around at the dog park?
I didn't, just because I was too busy.
Well, that's all right. You can pull it up. It's on my Instagram stories right now, which is Mark Talk, and then on Facebook as well. But we went down. I think the place used to be called Barquet, but I think it might have a different name.
Oh, what is it now?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I think the original. Wait, let me check, because the original owners of that, I think, shut down. That was kind of
They did, and it was like a huge deal, and people lost money. Fred, you're so well lit.
She is,
freaking me out. Look over there.
All right, yeah, because if you Google that right now, it says Barquet St. Louis permanently closed. But then there's a story here. Hang on. I should know the name of the business. I was just there yesterday.
Oh, it's cute. Look at them all in their little swimming pools. Canine Garden.
That is. Canine Garden.
Yeah.
So, you want to hear something funny?
Max is huge.
Yeah, he's big, isn't he? Sue, I've had dogs my entire adult life. So since I was about probably 28, 29 years old, I've never been, this is true, I've never been to a dog park in my life. Isn't that weird?
Oh, that is a little weird.
Because you just used to let them run in the regular park.
Well, yeah, and then I lose them and they run away from me, right? So yes, thank you, Fred, for pointing that out. Yes, but in this particular situation, Becky's like, well, it's Mother's Day, so we're letting her kind of make the call. Let's go down to, we still call it Barquet, and we got them all registered. And I mean, just as soon as I let him off the leash, he darts out of there. He's running around. I told Becky, I said, I wish we had a GPS collar on him so I could just see a map of, where he ran when he first ran in. And then he's going into these little swimming pools. He had the best time, and vicariously, the family had a great time because we're watching him have the time of his life at that dog park yesterday. It was awesome. It was funny, though. Then Becky decided to waste some money and buy some food for him, right? So they come out with this little 3 little stacks of circular things. It looks like an appetizer that adults would have at a restaurant that you would like put crackers and cheese on or something like that, right?
Wow.
So there's 3, and this is a dog. There's no food up until this point that I've discovered that this dog does not like, right? You put those 3 fancy things, which probably cost $12 to $15. I didn't even ask how much it was. He didn't take a bite. Like,
why?
He didn't want any. I don't know.
That's so
I have
weird.
no idea.
Too busy having fun?
I think he might have been too busy having
Wow.
fun. We brought it home, and then Olaf ate some of it.
I was going to say, fortunately, the rest of your house would be interesting.
No, but that was fun going down to a dog park.
Could he tell that he was somewhere new and it was something to be excited about?
Oh, I think so. I mean, he could not wait to get off the leash, and then he ran, and that place is big. Like, it's fascinating. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. Now, it costs money, right? I think you have to have a membership or something like that.
Are you signed up for the new version?
I don't know.
Or is this something where you can
we
just
did.
go by and, okay.
I don't, see, now, here's the problem.
You don't know anything.
I don't. But here's the other problem is, when she was doing this before, and she did it with the dog who passed away with Duke, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, my whole position was, and I'd never gone with her. I'm like, look, this place, it's off of Van de Venner and Kings Highway, so it's a little far from our house. Why do we have to have a membership? Well, now I'm like, oh, damn, this place is nice. I want to go back to it and have
She was smart
fun.
to take you, yeah.
Exactly. So, Fred, I don't know what it was that you opened up this morning, or at least the first story that you saw, but I had a bunch of different text messages that had come in overnight about the Ahmaud Hardy shooting. Now, Fred, or Sue, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but
No.
let's just put it this
Oh,
way.
yeah.
The best player on the University of Missouri football team, Ahmad Hardy, an incredible running back, was shot over the weekend at an outdoor party.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
In
I didn't
Mississippi.
know.
In Mississippi, yeah, we should make that clear.
Wow.
So it was at something, and I don't know how you would ever expect something to happen at this place. When I tell you the name of it, you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe a shooting happened at some place called the Kamikaze Biker Club, right? in Laurel.
Jeez, that's like a bad movie.
So he's an all SEC running back, right? He had this incredible year. He's coming back to the Tigers this year, in theory. It takes place. My goodness, here's another thing. My iPad keeps shutting down on me. Why the hell would that happen?
I don't know. It's
Because
new.
I think the mic was blocking out my Face ID. I'm not sure. So 2:00 Sunday. I'm just going to make stuff up if it's not true at this point. I really don't know. It's an outdoor rap concert. After the concert had ended in Laurel, Mississippi, the police say that the scene was a melee. That's the quote, right? So there had been a scheduled concert there of some rappers, or maybe a couple of different rappers. That's surprising to me, too, that it would be this genre that a shooting would, kind of emanate from. I would thought maybe a country or something like that. That's weird, but just an observation there. It drew a large crowd, they said, and then gunshots rang out at the end. There were 2 victims, and Ahmad Hardy was the second one of them, and then they say now we have a 3rd confirmed victim, so I guess that number doesn't matter anyway. He's in stable condition. They really have not said where he was shot, like in the body. We don't know how serious it is, but the Mizzou folks put out a statement that said Ahmad is deeply loved by his teammates, coaches, friends, family, and friends. We will continue to stand behind him and his family through this difficult time, offering our love, prayers, strength, and support. A timeline for his return to football activities is unknown at this time. Okay. So let's put that statement out. Let's let Ahmad recover just a little bit here in the next couple of weeks. We hope he's okay. Let's pull him into the office in Columbia, Missouri of Coach Drink and say, what in the hell are you thinking? Throwing your life away at a stupid rap concert that is ripe for trouble, and then you get shot, you idiot? What are you thinking? This is going to cost you millions and millions and millions of dollars if you do something this dumb again and you hang with the wrong people. Because look, he was hanging with the wrong people. And this is what these kids do. It's unbelievable. With that future on the line, it's almost like you have to give them a personal chaperone so they don't screw up. Now, look.
What year
I
is
was
he?
a kid. I think he's going to be a sophomore now.
Okay. All right.
Could be a junior.
So
I could
he's
be wrong. He was a
young.
transfer. It's
Yeah.
hard to. It really is hard to keep
Yeah.
track of this because he was a transfer. So I can't even guarantee you what year he is. He might have been. That doesn't matter.
Okay.
But again, you put yourself in these situations, and I got myself in trouble when I was in college too. A lot of us got in trouble, right? But I wasn't at somewhere where people were shooting at one another, right? And a big thing breaks out. It's not like this is the only time this happens at a rap concert or something like that. Unfortunately, it happens all the time. And on the topic of concerts, if I can get this thing to come up, which they said my audio was, Fred, do you know if I could press a certain button over here? Did you hear about the Queen's concert?
No.
And what happened
Queens,
there?
Plural? No.
Yeah, so this is another. If you can have one of those guys tell me how to get this audio up, because they took it down from the screen, and I'm not sure what happened here. Oh, so you haven't heard about this, have you, Sue? So this was last night at Enterprise Center, and apparently it was a rescheduled show. It might have been maybe even when the snow was coming in January. So the Queen's Tour featured Patti LaBelle, Chaka Khan, Gladys Knight, and Stephanie Mills. It's called the Queen's Tour. It's at Enterprise Center.
Oh, I would love this.
Right, but here's what it says. The show was filled with problems from the start, marred with audio and technical issues, inconsistent performance energy, and more memorable vocal moments from the background vocalist than the 4 headlining legends. Now, I've told you that I've kind of had this rule where I
you won't see anybody after the age of
70, and I'm breaking that, every now and again. And I think my guys from Triumph, I'm going to see them this weekend at the amphitheater. I think Rick Emmett and those guys are like right around 70, just in their low 70s. So I'm going to break my rule for that for sure.
What about the Stones if they came back?
I might, just because I like the new music, but I've kind of put it, I wrapped them in Vegas a couple years ago. Anyway.
Because they're in the 80s. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, maybe I can skip over to the 80s. So this is only the 3rd leg of this tour. And the way that the person in the Post dispatch, which, by the way, I'm even surprised that they have someone to write about this in the Post because they don't do much music. They say a fragile-looking night, 81, last night was 81, kicked off a concert with Love Overboard. I have that song. I just can't play it to you right now because it's not on my computer. It says that She danced and strutted slowly, being careful with her steps. She seemed a little disoriented at the song's start and sang facing the band instead of the crowd. Once readjusted, it was clear that her voice maintained its power despite her frail appearance. Hey, Fred, get Brad, okay? Because Brad's going to know exactly what we're looking at there. There's it. There it is. Okay, there we go. So I guess when Gladys Knight's up there, it was just kind of a disaster. She finally got through some songs. She stopped in the middle. This is what the review says. She stopped in the middle of singing most of her songs. Her background singers picked up the slack, but the vocal lapses were obvious and painful to watch at times. So keep in mind, there's like 4 people. So I guess this, and I'm less familiar with Ms. Mills, who also performs, Stephanie Mills.
Oh, you would know.
I know her songs, though, right? Yeah. She was in the original Broadway production of The Wiz, and apparently she was really good. So I don't think anything happened. But there were some audio problems that happened. So she wraps up her set. There's an intermission. Patti LaBelle comes out, and apparently it's a disaster because what they say is her eyes, the decorated songstress who struggled with the lyrics with her eyes remaining glued to the onstage teleprompter as she sang most of her songs. She vocally shone on If Only Knew, but apparently, now, by the way, it's not unusual for artists to have teleprompters. Most of the older audiences
I
do
get that,
have teleprompters,
right?
right?
Okay.
I think I could play some
But they
music
just
here,
don't
too.
stare at it.
Hang on a second. Let's see if I can get this thing to work in any way, shape, or form. Oh, that's the wrong one, but I did get it to work,
I
right?
heard it.
All right, so here's, let's do this because I haven't talked about Chaka Khan yet, right? So we'll get Chaka Khan to
She
play
better
here.
be okay. 'Cause
No,
I
she
love
wasn't.
her.
Here's what it said.
Oh, no.
So let's see if I have Chockzilla because apparently she has something called Chockzilla
What?
that is out right now. Well, I don't have that, so it doesn't really matter. It's going to be one of those days where I ask for audio and it's not in there. Audio issues became more noticeable at the end of LaBelle's set and bled into Khan's performance from the moment it started. It began with production playing, this is why I wanted to play Chockzilla, which is the new song. Listen to this. It began with production playing the singer's new Chockzilla music video repeatedly, with the audience booing after, wait for it, the third play.
Oh.
Khan apologized for the tech error when she hit the stage before launching into a couple other songs.
Are you saying it was recorded and they were accidentally playing it over
3
and over?
times. Yeah, I don't exactly know how that could have happened, but you know, you don't often read reviews that are that brutally honest about problems like that happen at a show, but that would have been pretty, I think, pretty disastrous. Fred's telling me to wrap up. Am I supposed to wrap up, Fred? Simply because I'm already running back behind on time? You could say, you could speak. You're free to speak in this room. Don't make me feel any weirder than I am right now. Because I don't like the way it started. I'm just telling you right now, and I knew this would happen.
Do you want me actually to say wrap it up?
Yes, I want you
to wrap it up.
There's a new rule this week.
All right,
this
what is
week
it?
you can tell me anything you want. You can say wrap it up, all that stuff, right? Here's the other thing I want to make people know, and this is important. Let's see. I asked for some audio for this too. Let me see if it
didn't work.
This is going to be. That didn't work. This is going to be the Mark Reardon Show, a hantavirus-free zone. Okay?
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the dumbest thing ever that Fox and all these other networks are giving this so much attention. Stop it. You're scaring people.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay. I'm not talking about it at all.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
You're going to have to probably handle your
Got
own
it.
microphone
Got
soon.
it.
I'm just telling you. I might not be able to do all this here this week.
That's fair. On the roads, we look okay. Now, if you are westbound on 70, we're fine in the city, but as soon as you get past 94, there's a little moderate volume. Now, 6440, that slows. It's Clayton Skinker. Again, just moderate. But southbound 170 is a little slow right there at 64. And eastbound 6440 slow 170 through Big Bend. Now, southbound 270 isn't bad yet. But there's some moderate volume from Olive down through Ladue Road, and northbound is slow at Olive as well. Southbound 55, just some moderate volume headed down toward the Arsenal area, and then it opens up. And if you're headed into Illinois, we're a little slow coming off the Poplar Street Bridge, and 64 eastbound looks like it's slowing as you head for 157. That, of course, is all due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
Hey, do you have a flooring project that you're looking at for this summer? If you do, I got a great place for you to turn. That's Michael's Flooring Outlet with 3 awesome locations. Mike and the team and I have worked together on some projects at my household, and it's been fantastic. It really has. We took some carpeting out, replaced it with some hard flooring that looks beautiful. We did it on a budget. The team was great. The installation was flawless. I gave them rave reviews. And if you go to the website at igotfloor.com, you'll see a lot of rave reviews because the customers are loyal to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've worked with the team maybe multiple times, and they know that you're going to get a better experience with experts at 3 different locations open 6 days a week than at a big box store with someone who hasn't really worked in this industry. The technology in flooring and carpeting has come as long a way as all the other things out in the world. It really helps you if you have pets, if you have kids, if you're looking at some flooring that doesn't scratch, that's stain-proof, all that stuff. They can hook you up with the right product for your lifestyle at Michael's. And they have 3 great locations open every day except for Sunday. They're in Old Town St. Peters, in Jardin Prairie, and in West County on Olive. The website, igotfloor.com.
Last year, we had 295 trials where we'd been offered a total of $90 million on all those cases. When the dust settled, we had recovered over $1.1 billion in verdicts and mid-trial settlements. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won a lot, $30 billion and counting. The best part of all those wins is that it helps you when you hire us. All those wins allow us to let the insurance company know we mean business. And believe me, they know who we are. If you've been injured, Google Morgan & Morgan results. You're not bragging if it's a fact. 3 million people tried to hire us last year alone. That happened for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com and let's get started this minute. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, so I think we got all the awkward stuff out of the way here, and we'll just rock through the rest of this Monday afternoon flawlessly.
Yes.
There won't be any issues. I should get this down in just a few minutes. It's just a little muscle memory stuff that's different, and we will get you through. We have at the bottom of the hour, I don't even know, this is weird, and Fred will have to tell me. We've tried to get Congressman Eric Burlison on the air many times. He's on the morning show quite a bit. He's going to join us at 3:30 and talk a little bit about UFOs because he's kind of involved in the release. He's calling for the release of more of those files, and then, of course, we'll have some thoughts on Iran and everything else from him. On that topic, we have Josh Hammer back with us this afternoon. He is the host of the Josh Hammer Show. You hear it every Saturdays at 1 on 97.1 FM Talk. Josh, welcome back. How are you on this Monday?
Mark, I'm doing just fine, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. How would you put the situation with Iran and the United States right now after a weekend where we don't get really anything that comes out of negotiations? And I think we thought of that. Is the president in a position right now where he's not exactly sure what the next steps are going to be?
Well, it seems pretty clear to me that he's trying to. He's vacillating. I mean,
yeah.
we're kind of in this very weird zone where it's not war, it's not a ceasefire, it's some murky middle, and it's been some murky middle for basically a month now, actually slightly over a month. But the thing to me, Mark, is that Trump knows that this is unacceptable. I mean, he had the all caps, totally unacceptable post on Truth Social when it came to Iran's latest counterproposal through the Pakistani mediators. You have our allies, the Israelis, Netanyahu's on 60 Minutes saying that the job is not done. So it seems like both ends of what was very recently this binational operation, both the senior partner of the United States and the junior partner Israel, it seems like both ends understand that the job is not done against Iran. On the other hand, the American people are completely understandably generally just weary of wars, and they want the gasoline prices go down. So Trump's essentially between a bit of a rock and a hard place on this one. But Mark, I kind of come back to the basic, to my basic first principles assessment, which is this. Before the operation started, there were very good reasons not to launch this. But the United States has had a very, very, very shoddy record around the world over the past 25 years when it comes to starting conflicts but not finishing them. When you start a conflict, you have to finish it, and you have to finish it on its own terms. That doesn't mean that there has to be boots on the ground. It doesn't have to mean that there has to be even full-scale regime change. What it does mean, and this is what I've been arguing on my show, the Josh Hammer Show, ever since day one, is that the goals of Epic Fury ultimately have to be realized. And those goals, to me, are fourfold. One is that the Strait of Hormuz must be free free for all international commerce and general traffic in general. 2, Iran has to stop funding all of its terror proxies throughout the region. 3, the Iranian ballistic missile and drone programs cannot be any more. And 4, perhaps most important, and Trump and Netanyahu both talk about this a lot, 4 is that the enriched uranium, especially the 60% enriched uranium, which is one step short of a nuclear bomb, that has to go. So unless until those things are achieved, I don't think that this operation is done. And I think that Trump agrees with that there. He's just trying to figure out a way, essentially, to try to, I think, finagle the PR and get himself into a place where he has the wind at his back once again there to recommence hostilities. That's my read on it.
And I could not agree more with everything you said there. But then the question becomes, and I think you've asked this question as well, why hasn't he, because if this is unacceptable, and I think that it is unacceptable, why not return to more military force?
It's a good question, and that's what I explored on my show earlier today, actually. And I don't have the answer. What I do have is a lot of speculation. Look, we know is that there are some folks inside the administration who, let's say, are less than fully enthused about the operation. We know from various leaks that the vice president was a skeptic of this from essentially the get-go, from day one. I believe that Tulsi Gabbard, his director of national intelligence, is no fan of this operation either. I'm sure there are plenty of others as well, both formal advisors and informal advisors. And I'm sure that the president gets the daily readings when it comes to gasoline prices there. And he very understandably, I think, wants to focus on domestic issues in the lead up to the midterms. Very understandably. This administration, by the way, has been fantastic from my vantage point on many domestic issues. Just over the weekend, actually, just saw a new article about homicide rates in the first few months of 2026. I mean, Mark, these are historic lows. I mean, the administration understandably wants to talk, I think, about the reduction in crime, the historic collapse of legal border crossings at the southern border, and so forth there. But what I've been arguing is that we're the freaking United States of America. We're the alpha big dog. We can walk and chew gum at the same time here. There's no reason why we can't sell a very convincing story when it comes to how great things are going in general on the home front, while finishing the job on the foreign front there. So that's essentially where I come back to. And I think that Trump is just trying to find a way to be while finishing the job on the foreign front there. So that's essentially where I come back to. And I think that Trump is, and then just get the job done. While finishing the job on the foreign front there. So that's essentially where I come back to.
Hang on a second here. I gotta stop Josh here. Sue, you're hearing that, right? That is like something that's in echo right now.
Foreign front there. So that's
it's going on like some repeat. Josh, if you can hear me, I very much apologize, because we have something really weird happening here where there's like a loop of the audio that keeps playing, and I will say that's something new that I've never really experienced before. So we're going to have a few of those things that happen here this week just because we're in a different studio. Let me see if I fixed that or if it got fixed. Josh, you there? I don't think he is. No,
you got me?
Yeah, now I got you. Could you hear that? It was like looping, and it was
yes.
Okay. Dude, I have no idea what just happened. It's never happened in my entire radio career. But anyway, go ahead.
No, all good, totally fine. Yeah, so Trump, I think, is facing a lot of skeptics within the administration there. He's facing the reality that Americans completely understandably are concerned about raising gas prices at a time where 2/3 of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Look, these are extremely understandable concerns. But to me, Mark, that militates in favor of just going in really hard, really quick, and just getting this thing done. The longer that this plays out, the more that we just vacillate there and pretend that we have a legitimate partner on the other end of the negotiating table, the Iranians, the longer that this song and dance goes on, the longer that the ultimate culmination is forestalled, and then the pivot back to the domestic issues is forestalled too. So I think that we're basically just stalling and delaying the inevitable at this point.
I think you're right. And look, you can do this, and I can pin a date on something, and I will. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this with former United States Senator Jim Talent in the 5 o'clock hour. But I think you got a couple of weeks here before Memorial Day and the beginning of summer, kids are out of school, to kind of get some more clear answers, because you get into a weird period then. People aren't as dialed in. The messaging gets very difficult. If the gas prices linger highly, that is not going to be good for the administration. So I think they have to figure out this 2-week window and really get something, toward a conclusion that is more definitive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, and I can almost feel Donald Trump's frustration. Vicariously.
I agree.
It's very, very easy to sense that he's frustrated. I think that he probably thought that we would have achieved our goals a little quicker. I don't blame him, frankly. Now, it's important to bear in mind, Mark, here, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer. Already we've accomplished tremendous things when it comes to Iran. It's not like the operation has been unsuccessful. Iran is severely set back relative to what they were 2.5 months ago. But I'm just a very goals-oriented guy. And to me, you lay out your goals of any kind of job or mission, whether it's as simple as what you're trying to accomplish in a given 8-hour workday or whether you're trying to engage in a war with a foreign jihadist state. So I'm a big goals guy. So you lay out your goals, and then you assess whether or not your goals have been achieved. And I think this has been a partial success thus far, a big partial success. But the job simply is just not done yet there. And again, you don't become the first president in 47 years to stop kicking the can down the road unless you have some, let's call them cojones.
I think he's gonna finish the job. It's just a matter of what, exactly what form that takes. Josh, always great to have you on this Monday. You hear his show on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Josh Hammer. Have a great week.
You too.
All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got an accident on the shoulder, and this is 70 westbound. And it's really near Cave Springs, and that's caused a delay in that area. It's a slow go that goes back to about 94. Not hideous, but a little slow. Now, westbound 6440 is lined up. This is approaching Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound, there was an accident reported near Big Bend and some volume behind that. There's also a jam ramping from westbound 40 onto northbound 270. Some volume there that goes back through Lindbergh. Southbound 270, it's mainly moderate volume at Ladue Road. And to the south of there, it's okay. And out west, 64 is lined up. It's Highway N out through the 70 split. And then it looks better. And it looks like we've got an accident reported on Highway K just south of Woodcrest, which is south of Feisey Road, if that helps. And it looks like we've got a jam in both directions. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Well, let's talk about the real estate market. And certainly it's been tricky over the course of the last, I'd say the decade. It's been really, really tricky. Home values have been very, very high. Finding a home that you can live in, not as easy just because there aren't as many on the market. But one of the things that we like to emphasize, I want to talk about my friends Mark and Neil Gelman with the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Hire a professional. Look, your home is likely going to be the greatest financial investment that you're ever going to make, right? If you get a trained real estate agent, someone who is really good at what they do, like the Gelman teams, it can be your wisest. So give yourself every opportunity to come out on top by working with a team like the Gelmans that you'll be made aware of every listing. You'll get inside information. They are on top of the market like nobody else here in St. Louis. And check the scoreboard. If you're thinking about buying or selling when it comes to choosing the Gelman team, they have over 1,500 Google, Zillow, and 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, $2.5 billion in real estate here in the St. Louis area. Reach them at thegelmanteam.com or call 314-336-1991. Tell them that I sent you over. The Gelman team.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out about tax bills, and we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis, at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
All right, a little later, we'll get a Monday edition of Sue's News here. We also have Jim Talent coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I'm very interested in talking to him because President Trump goes to see President Xi later this week in China. We have the situation, obviously, with Iran, and there's some new developments in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia today as well. So we'll cover all of that as we get through the afternoon. One of the big stories today was the shooting in Mississippi of SEC running back, almost said something else, running back Ahmad Hardy from Mizzou, and he seems to be okay, but Frank Cusumano, for his regular Monday visit, is going to join us in the 4 o'clock hour. We have Congressman Eric Burlison with us. He represents the 7th District of Missouri. Congressman, I'm not even sure we've even spoken before, so this is kind of an honor. Thanks for coming on 97.1 FM Talk. How are you?
Doing great.
Well, you've kind of taken the lead a little bit on some of this UFO stuff. We filed this last week. I played some of the audio. I'm usually on the air, here in this hour when Will Cain is on Fox. I know you went on his show to talk about some of this. So let me just start with a little bit of an open-ended question. What is your role in all this, and what kind of got you interested in this particular issue?
Yeah, let me first start by saying this is not the type of project that I spend most of my time working on. But it is the one item that the press, and I get a lot of interview requests for. So, but it's captivated everyone's mind and attention. I'm on the oversight committee, particularly the committee for investigating government secrets and declassifying, whether it was the Epstein list or the JFK assassination or the UAP files. So I'm on that committee. And as a result, I've just done a lot of research and done a lot of homework into this topic, and as a result, get asked a lot of questions.
So one thing, and it was interesting, my wife brought this up to me, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago. She goes, have you heard about all these missing scientists? Fox is covering it all the time. I'm like, no, I watch Fox all the time. I really haven't heard about that. Well, then I figured out it was Will that was originally talking about that. And, I think a lot of people blew it off, but then all of a sudden you start looking at the pattern, and maybe there's some coincidences in here, but it's strange, right? And you've kind of asked some questions about that as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so this began whenever we had the UFO whistleblower, David Grush, come forward before Congress and testified back in 2024, or 2023, sorry. And then he had a good colleague and friend named Matthew Sullivan, who he had been working with, to also come forward to testify to Congress, and has scheduled the meeting. And unfortunately, Matthew Sullivan was reported dead from a suspicious drug overdose. And so that happened. We've had we had sent a letter to the FBI because the Office of Inspector General had deemed his death suspicious and credible and worthy of investigation. So we sent a letter to the FBI to investigate that. To my knowledge, I've not heard back from the FBI, but I do believe that they have been investigating that death. So in the midst of that, recently we had retired Major General William McCasland go missing. So he had just recently retired. He was the former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory. He oversaw Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and Kirtland Air Force Base, along with the NASA research labs. And so he apparently on February 27th, from his home in Albuquerque, New Mexico, left behind his phone, glasses, devices, and just walked out the front door with no trace.
That's
no
weird.
Cameras, like all the Ring cameras, nothing picked up anything. So that was strange. And then when people started looking into it, they realized, oh wait, there's other scientists that were connected to General McCaslin, whether it was Monica Reza, who was the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, working on advanced materials that would be important for space in hypersonic missiles. She went missing on a hike in June of 2025. So just a few months prior. And then people realized, and then there was Anthony Chavez, who was he was an engineer, foreman working at Los Alamos Laboratory. He walked out of his home on May 8th, 2025, out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then Melissa Cassius, who was also working at Los Alamos Labs, she walked out of her home in New Mexico in June of 2026. And then in August of June of 2025. And in August of 2025, Stephen Garcia, also Albuquerque, working on National Nuclear Security Administration, and all of these people were working on projects that were either funded or directed by General McCaslin, and they all walked out of their homes and have not been seen since.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that certainly is something that at the very least demands some, investigation. And I think that's one of the reasons you're trying to ask some of these questions. One more thing here, and I know you're on short time, Congressman, and I appreciate it. You wrote a letter to the president of MIT, maybe not the president, but the MIT director of the Lincoln Laboratory, asking for something that refers to flying saucer talk. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so the MIT Lincoln Labs is really it's not necessarily, I mean, I'm sure there's a connection with MIT, but it is a quasi-government entity. It's like a public-private partnership or organization that some would classify as a federally funded research and development center. And it is kind of the precursor for MITRE Group. It is they did a lot of the early research on UFO stuff, and we're aware that there is a video that exists from 1952 where there was a briefing that occurred, and that video exists. We're trying to get our hands on that video. It has been classified. I've heard that my letter has actually stirred up quite a bit of attention.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a good thing, right?
It is. I think that the recent release that the Trump administration did is fantastic and it's historic. But it's all of the files that are mostly like Predator drone videos from the Department of War, videos that that are low hanging fruit. People have been talking about it. There have been so many military personnel that have seen these videos. So they weren't really, while they were still classified, they weren't really that secret because most people know about these videos. And I'm glad that they're finally released. But where the real truth is, I believe, is in these federally funded research and development centers and the private companies that are contracting with them. So if you're going to keep something truly secret, you don't want it to be FOIA'd. You don't want members of Congress prying into things. So you put these things in private hands.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm focused on that. And I am going to be speaking with the Trump administration to try to steer them in that direction as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here, and you're welcome anytime to talk about some of these other issues domestically, internationally, but I appreciate your time on this. Obviously, a lot of people have been a little curious about this. So, Congressman, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got an accident northbound 67 past St. Pius Drive. Watch for that in the left lane. Also, the left shoulder, the left exit closed. Accident westbound 6440 on the ramp to northbound 270. They say it's the left part of the exit that is closed. And, of course, it's already jammed through there because of the construction zone. So definitely a slow go. Now, the stall, eastbound 70 approaching Cave Springs, that one has been moved off to the right shoulder. We've got an accident reported Highway K near Hutchings Farm Road, south of Feisey. Looks like that is causing a delay. If you are leaving downtown, 70 westbound, it isn't bad. It's a little slow past Lindbergh, but there was an accident westbound near Cave Springs, and that has caused a delay back through 94. We also have westbound 40 lining up approaching Hampton out through Big Bend. Eastbound slowing at Big Bend as well. Out west, it's 64 that is slow. And that's highway and out through the 70 split. 70 isn't bad, and it looks good on 55 as well. Quiet on the Poplar Street Bridge, but slow on the Illinois side of the bridge due to an accident near, looks like it's 3rd Street. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs, located in Chesterfield Valley. There you'll see why they say creativity, unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, cards, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined, and the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, on a fun note, we like to do fun, believe it or not, here at the Mark Reardon Show, but we have a really cool thing that happened on The Price is Right today that made national news, and of course, our friend is George Gray, the voice of The Price is Right with Drew Carey. But what happened, like set a record. My mom, I'm surprised Judy Reardon didn't text me about this. Maybe she didn't watch the recording yet.
It was on the Friday.
Yeah, it was on Friday. Okay.
Mother's Day special.
Yeah.
And it was a retired from Virginia, and she won the biggest single game payout that The Price is Right has had in its, 56-year history.
That's amazing.
Well, I've got it in Sue's News. I hate to talk about it too much, but the way she won it, you're going to want to hear, because I'm thinking most of us would not do it.
Right.
Because you have to risk the amount that you've got.
No, I know. And
know?
We'll play the audio during Sue's News, which is right around 4:20, a little after that. But then we'll have George explain all this.
Right.
Because this would have been taped like months ago, right?
He kept his mouth shut about that, didn't he?
That's a lot of money. It's like, what was it, 240 or something?
227?
Yeah.
227,000?
For The Price is Right, I'd say.
Yeah, 227,000.
That kind of rivals our no cases here when we do The Price is Wrong.
Barely.
I would say for sure. Oh, man, I got a couple of things here that I might save for the next hour just because they're so good and the audio is awesome. And then something else technologically is happening to me, and I have no idea what it is. You guys know I use reading lists, and I used to use Safari.
Yeah.
And there's this feature where I can put articles on my reading list. Well, I was having issues with Safari, so when I got the new iPad, I started using Google Chrome. And I've really never used Chrome that much, but I have a reading list option on there as well. but I keep putting things on it and they're disappearing.
That's always good.
Well, why would that even happen?
I don't know. I am not a person who does reading lists on there, so I cannot advise.
Let's have George Rosenthal look into it for tomorrow's Tech Talk Tuesdays.
I think I might, just because
why not?
It's just bizarre to me. And unfortunately, what that does is it takes away my opportunity to do some stories that I really want to do, because the stories have kind of disappeared on me, unfortunately. So this is kind of crazy when you think about it, and it's sad, too. This has to do with something that happened in New York City. So there's a young woman that now says, and she's kind of coming forward with this, saying that she declined pressing charges against a violent suspect because she didn't want to put another black man in jail.
Oh,
and
come on.
Wait to hear what he did, because this didn't happen. So this woman is 23 years old. She anonymously, they don't want her name out there, she detailed how this happened and how Ramel Burke is his name. He's 32 years old. He attacked them while riding the subway on April 2nd. So she says that, and she's telling this to the New York Post, she completely regrets her decision to not work with prosecutors after Burke was charged with murder on Friday for allegedly shoving a 76-year-old woman down a flight of stairs. I'm sorry, it was a man, Ross Falzone, down a flight of stairs on Thursday night at a subway station, and he's dead, right?
Great.
So the woman's quoted in the paper saying, well, maybe there was a part of me, I just don't want to put another black man in jail. That's a quote. But, at some point, if you're a criminal, you're a criminal, and he was scary. He was a scary guy. Yeah, well, that's why you press charges, right?
Right.
So she...
Doesn't matter what color anybody is.
This guy was
crime.
dangerous, and he was violent. So, but listen to what happened here, and what would inspire someone, maybe think about your own kids in a situation like this, and what would you tell them to do? So she says that this guy approached her and her friend in the subway car, trying to start, some small talk. They decided to switch the carts to get away from the guy. He's got multiple recent arrests, the story says. He stalks them from behind, kicks her friend in the back, shoving him forward before grabbing her by the neck of the head, by the back of the head. She says the friend, I guess is the guy, right? Brave guy. He freaks out, runs away. Then he grabs me by the head, pushes my head down, trying to maybe throw me on the ground or something. But I didn't. I resisted as much as I could. I didn't fall, and then I immediately opened up the car and I ran toward my friend. Now, she also says, because the story continues, I got to page down a little bit here. She says that Burke, the dude, kept pursuing them even after they escaped the train. This was at the West 4th Street station. Not that really matters, but she says that they ran a little bit, and the cops were there because she says, we kept thinking about, imagine that there were no cops. Oh, I can imagine that. I live in St. Louis, okay? We would have had to literally run for our lives. They immediately arrested him. It was shut down really fast by the cops. We respected that. She was in shock, she admits, but 5 weeks later is when the dude pushes down the woman on the staircase. And I don't really understand what happened, but he ended up in a hospital, like in a Bellevue hospital, and they were evaluating, I think, his mental situation. But after he's released from that is when he kills the dude at the subway stop. So there's a lesson there. I think that, again, crime is crime, especially in a situation like this where you have someone, I think, that is mentally ill. You don't want to go easy on them, so then they can come back and do something again. That is unbelievable, but I bet there's a lot of cases like that, unfortunately. Look, the prosecutors in New York have done it, Well,
do you have time to play the Paul Morrow cut about his thoughts about the subway?
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, so he responded. Is this the actual judge in the case, too?
Yeah, the judge that released him on the prior case.
Okay, so this is the judge. If I can get it to play, and you guys, I'm going to have to work with this just a little bit here. I can't tell you where that's going to come. I don't have all my outputs down, Fred, so I think I'm running a little short on time here, and I'm not sure if I can do this. Which is the one that they said it was? Do you guys have any idea, Fred? Do you remember? I'm going to try this one. Hang on.
Over.
Let's try this one here. Here's the judge.
Nope,
that's not it. Okay, well, I'm going to have to get this straight in my brain before we do the next hour.
Hold on.
Well, I tried that. There it is. Okay, let's try that.
Fred.
Here's the judge. Oh, my God. This is professional radio at its best. Hold on. Here's the judge.
I think what we need to do at all levels of the judiciary is make sure that there are opportunities for education, rehabilitation, addressing the mental health needs that people have when they enter the criminal legal system so that they can take ownership and autonomy so that when it's time to make an application, hopefully under the Second Look Act, they are presenting their best selves.
Yeah, so she wants to be a social worker. Here's Paul Morrow, if I can get him to play.
That's the kind of crap that you see that's supposed to be some kind of a resolution, right? Let me just speak in this high-minded rhetoric, and now we all go away and have lunch. Nothing is ever done. We dismantled the mental health system for the criminally insane. That used to be the term. Now that's politically incorrect. That we used to have. Take it from a guy who's been in and out of that Bellevue facility that he was taken to probably 500 times in my career. It's not the hospital's fault. They have no provisions for this. You take them to, it's called a PEP unit. You take them to the PEP unit, they bring them in, they give them some fluids or something. They have nothing else to do with them. There's no place to put them. We literally have no place to put these people. There's nobody wants to step up and do it, and so we just look the other way.
Look, I think this is a big crisis across the country.
It
It's worse
is.
in cities like that, but it really is a major crisis. So you're letting these people go back on the street, and then they're committing more crimes. But to Paul's point, I mean, the judge is doing exactly the wrong thing.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some slow-moving traffic on westbound 70. There was an accident near Cave Springs, and we've got a slow go back through 94. Also slow, this due to road work, is westbound 370 at 141. 64 westbound. There was an accident reported, well, at least emergency vehicles, past Big Bend on the right side. So now we have a jam that goes back through Kings Highway. Eastbound is slow in that area, and so is southbound 170. Now, southbound 270, moderate volume approaching Olive on down to just south of Manchester. And there was an accident westbound on 6440 on that ramp to northbound 270. That's caused a delay. And an accident down south, Highway 61 past St. Pius, that in the two left lanes. A lot of volume on the Illinois side, eastbound 64 at 157 and Route 3 at Monsanto Avenue. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Mark Cox here. Bring your home back to life with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean right now, starting at just $139, and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them 97.1 sent you.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Men. Need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Gentlemen, Mark Cox here. When's the last time you actually felt like yourself? Victory Men's Health specializes in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, and longevity. It's built for everyday men who just want to feel better and perform their best. They already have offices is in Town and Country, Sunset Hills, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. They're about to open a new location in Glen Carbon very soon. It's a higher standard of care just waiting for you. Learn more at victorymenshealth.com.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. Up-to-the-minute traffic reports, so you don't have to keep looking at your phone. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Brady, Fox News. Democrats in Virginia asking the U.S. Supreme Court to invalidate last week's ruling from the state Supreme Court, which blocked new congressional maps on a procedural issue. Also just getting word that Alabama is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene in a redistricting fight. And one more note from the High Court, access to an abortion pill is being extended for now, at least until Thursday, while the review of restrictions on mifepristone continues. Federal health officials pushing back on concern that cuts to federal agencies may be hurting preparedness to deal with a hantavirus outbreak.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Department of Health and Human Services, including, here's who Trump fired, cruise ship inspectors, port health station staff, disease detectives, and others.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Medicaid and Medicare Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz telling reporters.
The country's prepared, the CDC is focused on it, and the agency is well aware of the opportunities to actually treat this problem, not just try to prevent it in the future, but treat if it happens now.
16 U.S. citizens evacuated from the cruise ship hit by a deadly outbreak are now at a special hospital in Nebraska for monitoring. 2 others at a facility in Atlanta. Discouraging words about the ceasefire with Iran.
After rejecting a counteroffer from Iran over the weekend, President Trump tells me the ceasefire is now on life support.
Where the doctor walks in and says, "Sir, your loved one has approximately a 1% chance of living."
The president calls the latest proposal from Iran totally unacceptable and garbage.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Until the conflict ends, the president says he would support a temporary suspension of the federal gas tax to help lower prices. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley just proposing a bill that would do that. America is listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
It's a great way to kick off the new week with plenty of sunshine as we go through our Monday afternoon. 76 for the high. Tonight, clear skies will drop into the upper 60s fairly quickly this evening. 52 for the low. Tuesday, sunny. 83 degrees Tuesday afternoon. Then a couple of showers, maybe a thunder shower Tuesday night. And Wednesday is sunny and slightly cooler, 75. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 2. And if you missed the first hour, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but we have a little bit of a temporary situation with a new studio because they're fixing the 97.1 FM Talk studio. So we're down here in one of my old studios at KMOX. We call this one Studio C. It's right where Fred works every day. And the only reason I bring it up is because I'm making a few mistakes here that I usually don't make, just because my brain is discombobulated. Fred, what can I say? It's just
we
things,
can handle it.
Things are
good. And
you're
staying in a good mood.
And
That's
again, I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I did want to mention that because if people are confused, that's maybe perhaps why they were confused. So, I want to talk a little bit about baseball. Usually if Ethan was here, we talk baseball, but it was so frustrating yesterday. Sue, I don't know if you were dialed into this.
Oh, it was
but
not.
I'm watching the game. We went to that dog park yesterday. It was great. So then I'm watching the game. It was a 3:15 start, and I had to take Alexa to a volleyball clinic last night. So we're leading 2-0. It was a Jordan Walker home run that I think put us up, and our pitching was fantastic. And since I go into the clinic, and I have my phone, I'm like, oh, we're going to win this. It was in the 9th inning. We were going into the bottom of the 9th. And then I happen to look at my phone 10 seconds later, and it says 2-2. It was 2-0 at the time. So with 2 strikes and 2 outs, was it Riley O'Brien?
Yes.
Gives up a home run, a 2-run home run, and then you go into the extra innings and we blew it. But we had a chance to take 3 out of 4 from the Padres, unfortunately, and you split. And look, these things happen, and the Cardinals are going to be at the the winning side of some of those things. This happens in baseball. But it was, I think, extra frustrating because we were so close to such a great start on this West Coast swing. Now we play what do we call them? The Sacramento A's, the Oakland A's, the Vegas A's.
Now?
Well, they're in Sacramento right now.
Well, that's weird.
I know it is weird, isn't it? But I guess we'll call them the Oakland A's. But they're actually not bad right now, right, Fred?
No, they're not doing.
They're pretty good, I think.
They are. We shouldn't take it for granted.
So you're not completely ignorant when it comes to sports. So I might guess that you would know the name Bobby Cox, the legendary Hall of Fame manager for the Atlanta Braves. I love when people do this. And Fred, I don't know if you saw this. I put this up on the Twitter. You can always follow me at Mark Reardon, KFTK. Somebody named Leland, I don't even know who this guy is. He goes, in honor of Bobby Cox, here's almost 20 minutes of him getting ejected. And it's this incredible, when these guys used to go face to face with the umpires and kicking the dirt and doing all these things and then getting ejected again. And just, that was legendary. We miss those things in modern baseball.
Kicking dirt.
Oh my God, that was so good. So somebody put 20 minutes of this together, which is incredible. So I have to play this, and this, I don't know, I was thinking about this for cut of the day, but I want to play it now. Maybe I'll play both. Because, who was it here? Terry Francoeur told this story. Was it Terry or Jeff? I have to figure this out. There's 2 for it's Jeff, I think, right? So he's sitting down telling a story here about Bobby Cox and Tiger Woods, which is just epic. Now, this goes back to, I think, 2006 is when this happened. It's not the first time that the story's been told, but it's pretty interesting.
When I heard they were coming today, I said...
Oh, there's Trump. That's actually, you know what? Let me play that real quick. Trump was with the Indiana Hoosiers, the national champions today, in the Oval Office.
Wow, that's fun.
He was addressing Kurt Signetti. So since this is sports related, here's what that sounded like.
When I heard they were coming today, I said, I got to meet that coach because he came out of high school, a great high school program, but you made it good. But what you did is something that I don't think anybody's ever really done in college football history. How is your team going to be this year, Coach? What do you think?
Well, we got a chance if we commit and if we have discipline and a great work ethic, and if we can handle success and we can handle failure, and we're consistent day in, day out, we might have a chance.
How about this guy? Is he central casting or what?
Yeah, he is central casting. All right, so here's this is pretty good. And again, I think this goes back to 2006, and John Smoltz is involved here too because he was set to pitch.
That's what it was like playing with Tiger Woods. You are a world-class athlete. What was it like playing with arguably the greatest player of all time?
I'll tell you, I've never actually told this story on anything, and I think this will be the greatest story I tell was, I got a chance to play with him a couple times. I was 22 years old, and it was incredible. I grew up my whole life watching this guy, and I'll never forget pulling into Isleworth the first time and seeing him on the range, and it was probably the most surreal moment of my life.
So that was John Ziegler, our friend John Ziegler, who posted this. He did this interview. So you heard his voice at the beginning. That's how I find this audio because he tweeted this out today.
I've been lucky enough. I've met President Bush, President Obama. I was not nearly as starstruck as I was when I met Tiger Woods for the first time. But what the coolest Bobby Cox story is, guys, is Bobby during spring training loved us to play golf, loved this. We were playing the Yankees at 1 o'clock on a day game. And I was 22 years old. I had been playing for 3 months as a starter. I was not going to go up to Bobby and be like, hey, I need the day off, right? But he comes out to stretch and goes, Smoltzy said you had a chance to play with Tiger today. There was a 150 tee time. And I'm like, Bobby, I'm fine. Like, I'm playing today. He goes, no, I'll make you a deal. He said, after your first at bat today, run through first base and kind of rub your ankle a little bit like you hurt your ankle. And he's like, in 2 days, we're going to Bradenton. And you know, Tim, you have to have whatever 3 starters make a road trip.
Sure.
And he's like, I hate Bradenton's infield. I don't want to get any of the guys hurt. So if you go to Bradenton, I'll let you go play with Tiger today. So sure enough, man, we're playing the Yankees, 12, 13,000 people in Orlando. I ground out the first at bat. I run through first and I start, rubbing my ankle. And, Bobby, he waddles out there with his cleats. And he checks on me. I run inside. I literally throw my golf clothes on. I didn't shower. I get to the golf course, and they're on the first fairway. So I hit my tee shot. We end up playing 27 holes. And about 4:30, my wife sends me a little thing that there was an update that said Frank Court day-to-day with a high ankle sprain. And I'm out there playing hours with Tiger. So the best part is the next day, I didn't even have to do anything. I came in, like, iced my ankle and all that.
That's Tim Kirkchen, too, on that. So that's a pretty funny story. And, they got me thinking, because I'd never heard that story before, but it did get me thinking how often something like that, may have happened, like theatrics, where you kind of do a little, shade, throw some shade somewhere. And it probably had to happen more than we ever thought it was. But that's pretty funny coming from the manager, right? Saying, you know what, take the day off, go play 27 holes with Tiger. How amazing would that be?
I'm probably innocent on this, but I never thought they fake an injury to get out and do something else.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, you kind of wonder, especially in the modern era, you wonder how much of this stuff is
It was
fake.
spring training.
Right, that's a little different.
Well, that's
I
a
would
good
say.
point.
But I mean,
actually.
it's also pretty on Frank Coor's part. Look, he was saying, "Look, I'm a newbie here. I'm not going to look for special treatment." But Bobby Cox is like, "Dude, it's freaking Tiger Woods. You do not want to miss out on that opportunity," which is awesome. It's like I'm still so jealous. And by the way, he's milking this for everything he can possibly get out of it. And I give him credit for it because I would do the same thing. But last week, it was Senator Schmidt who played with Bryson DeChambeau. And, I mean, he keeps I don't know if you're following his social media, but he keeps churning out the different videos of Bryson and Schmidt, milking it as much as he can get. But, again, it's hard for me to blame him for doing that because I think I would do exactly the same thing, if you know what I mean. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing to be able to do for sure.
Very cool.
I think it's cooler than, and this is just me, I mean, Schmidt, he's with the president all the time playing golf, but I think kind of playing with Bryson would be even a little bit better on that. Let's see here. What else did I have? I had a couple other things that I wanted to talk about before Sue's news, and they may have been audio related.
Do you have time to talk about Target?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Well, I'll touch on it because this is actually interesting. But Fred, you know what? This might be one of those things that I put in my reading list that is not in here.
I cannot go to that place for less than, if I go, I'm going to run in and grab an X, whatever that would be. Let's say it's a card. I will come out of there every time having spent $150.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So I try not to go. I try to send Mike because it's unsafe for me to go there.
That's my Costco visit.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is a story. Let me see if I can find it here because I think it was in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, and I was surprised. So I go to Target quite a bit. Fred, do you do your?
I do Walmart a lot more than Target.
I do too. I really do. But apparently, Target's been really struggling, and they've lost. According to the story, they've kind of lost their way. They're going to spend billions of dollars to refresh the stores. They're going to focus on home decor, apparel, and pop culture trends.
Okay.
Because they've had sales declines. Now, I had no idea they had sales declines. Right? I've seen. I guess I would say just
packed.
going to Target. I go there for like the dish soap. Sometimes they have Diet Coke on sale. A bunch of different things.
They have really good shopping carts.
They do have good shopping carts. You know what, Fred? I'm with you there. But what the New York Times story said was, I guess this guy, Michael Fidelke, he's the new chief executive. He said something last week that Target had begun a total overhaul of its entire 2,000 store network. And he says, if I were to step back and draw a heat map of the entire store, highlighting it where we're making changes, you'd see more change to what we sell and how we sell it than you've seen in a decade. So what the story says, and this is kind of what surprised me, is that they've struggled over the past 3 years with strong competition from Walmart, which has, and I think some of this may have to do with inflation. Look, I shop at Walmart, but I do Target for different things. And they've lost that advantage. I mean, they were, we always used to call it Target, right? And they were the top proprietor of what they called cheap chic. Well, they've lost that advantage. And I guess that, some of this certainly goes to Amazon and Prime and stuff like that as well. I mean, you're not going to get you can order your Dawn dishwashing liquid on Amazon, have it delivered right away, and I think some of that is eating into it as well.
Didn't they do something that was kind of lefty, but I can't remember what it was?
Yeah, what was it?
But the bathing
fashion.
suits that were for men, that were women-y. I can't remember. I'd have to look that up.
There was something that was somewhat
I just wondered if that was a factor or whether...
I don't know that it was, but I mean, if you're looking at a company that has kind of lost its way with its audience, that could certainly lead to that, right? I mean, you'd say, wait a second, what is going on with Target right now? I'll look that up. There might be something to that, but I did find it interesting that, he's saying there's going to be more changes than in the last decade. So we'll see what that actually entails. We got Sue's News on a Monday coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Let's see. On the roads, they've cleared that accident northbound 67 down south past St. Pius Drive. Now an accident westbound 44 really close to Soccer Park Road. Watch for that on the right-hand side. We still have emergency vehicles westbound 70 past Cave Springs. They're on the shoulder, but it really has caused a delay in that area. 370 westbound jams approaching 141. That apparently due to road work. 6440, it's Kings Highway out through McCausland. And then out west of Winghaven, out through 70, that's a slow go. And southbound 270, it's still mainly moderate volume, approaching Olive down through 44. Accident, at Soccer Park is not helping there. And we do have some volume downtown on westbound 44 in front of the Arch, so right there in the Arch grounds in the depressed section. And things look fine on the Poplar Street Bridge if you're headed into Illinois, 64 eastbound, slowing at 255. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hang on here. We had a quick listener response on the Target thing that might have refreshed our memory, saying, it was the tuck-in swimming suits for the young boys and the woke alphabet mafia section in the store that got them in trouble. That's going to have an effect. Look, I think people are going to say, look, we don't want any of that nonsense. So I'll be curious to see if the new guy is as woke.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Corey, from your comfort service? Why are you standing next to my AC?
I'm standing behind our work.
But it's 8 p.m. You're just going to stand behind my air conditioner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could you turn off the sprinkler then?
Absolutely. At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, we take pride in our work. If you need a new air conditioner or HVAC system, you can trust we'll install the equipment correctly. Plus, for a limited time, qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
We all know spring weather means spring storms. Mark Cox here for Hanson's Tree Service. Now's the time to remove any dead or hazardous trees over your home before the spring storms bring them down. It's a great time to have an arborist come out and put together a plant health care program for your trees and shrubs. You can also order mulch and compost directly from the website and have it delivered to your driveway. Just go to hansonstree.com. Again, that's hansonstree.com.
It is not hard to destroy a college.
Last season, the podcast Campus Files brought you stories of fraternity drug rings, stolen body parts, campus cults, and more.
And now, Campus Files is back for another season.
There's a guy screaming into his phone. He's like, I just saw Charlie Kirk get assassinated right in front of me.
Every week is a new episode and a new story.
It was so chaotic.
It's almost like a university under siege.
Listen to and follow Campus Files, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
You know, last week we were given some tickets away for the Guns N' Hoses Soccer Cup, which is happening at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park out where I live in Fenton. A couple of weeks from now, it benefits Backstoppers. John Dolan, one of the organizers, is going to join us a little bit later from now at 4:30 after Sue's News. We're going to do Sue's News if Mark can figure out where the Sue's News Open is, as we are changing studios for this week. So I think I have it. Let's see if I get it right here. Because there's two parts of this. Not only do I have to have it, but I also have to have the right thing coming up on this little button here. Let's try it.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Fred was kind enough to, I'm dumb, and left the bell in the old studio, and they're like making noise over there and hammering and stuff. When I go to do another thing, I'll stop and pick that up. Okay, you guys, I realize that this is say it, semi-quincentennial.
You did it. I'm not trying it. You nailed it.
I think that, is that how you, emphasis-wise?
Yes, I think so.
Right?
Yes, I think so. But I made it very clear a couple weeks ago. I'm not trying that word.
I wrote it down.
It's the 250th birthday of our country. Which, by the way, I think earlier I was saying sesquicentennial, which is completely wrong.
Oh,
There are a few different names for it, but we're going with the one that you said.
Yeah, the bi. What's the bi one? Fred, isn't there a bi one? Never mind.
That sounds personal,
It
okay?
does.
That sounds like an
moving
OnlyFans thing, and I don't think we want to go there.
I thought to myself, all right, this is the 250th anniversary, and I saw like a little sign somewhere, it's the 250th, and I thought, this is great. We should be embracing this more. And then I thought, I have nothing to wear on the 4th of July. I have nothing to wear. I mean, when it was 1976, my mother made me an outfit that we looked like pioneer women.
Sure.
And I can't wear that. I was at 4th or whatever grade. And so now I thought, I'm going to get something that I can wear. So behold, my sweater.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that.
American flag on that sweater right now. That's going to be hard to wear on the 4th of July when it's 115.
So I got a T-shirt, too.
Oh, that was very smart, Sue.
Because I thought, I'm going to wear this in the studio, and I don't want to freeze. And then, but I'm just saying, it's a good idea to start looking now, because they were down to the bare nubs.
Can I tell you something? This is serious. I thought about this weekend, and I'm rather sad about it, because you know that I've talked about this birthday for a while now, a couple of years. One of the main reasons I did not want Kamala Harris in the White House is because having someone like that in a year where we're celebrating this significant anniversary, and we all remember 1976, I thought that would have been horrifying.
Agreed. Having
said that, and I'm going to put faith in President Trump here. However, if we're still in this war in the middle of the summer, that's going to piss me off. And it's going to take away from some of the significance. And I know that there's impatience on the part of the White House right now, but this thing drags on and on. It's going to, I think, screw a lot of things up that we might not even be thinking about.
My friend Jana's mother says, don't borrow trouble, Mark Reardon.
Right.
It's not here yet.
That's right.
Well, just wait for it to happen if it does. Happy National Eat What You Want Day. Best day of the year. Oh, well, good for you, Fred. But what it does is gets rid of diets. It just set it aside for today.
You're not going to do that. If there's one person that I know that's not going to do that, it's you.
I did bake bread for Mother's Day, sourdough, but I had some of that. It was quite tasty.
Why don't you go out tonight to Fritz's Frozen Custard and get like a big concrete and just say,
Man, that sounds good.
See, it does, doesn't it?
I did put sugar in the whipped cream. Huh?
There
I'm
you go.
on the edge.
Baby steps.
All right, thank you. And 120 years ago today, this is a St. Louis thing. Okay, picture this. It's 1906, and the World's Fair is over, and it was such a huge thing. The millions of people who came to town for the World's Fair is mind-boggling because they had to do it by train and by horse. It's just mind-boggling.
Where did people stay?
Right, there were hotels that popped up. They would stay with other people, but there were temporary hotels in Forest Park.
It had to have been.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so it's 1906, and a large crowd of St. Louisans gathered to watch as the huge 264-foot-tall Ferris wheel from the World's Fair was dynamited.
Oh, my goodness.
It took 100 sticks of dynamite to take this thing down. Now, it could hold 2,100 people. I mean, that's how big the cars were when they went around. Now, this is according to Joe Sonderman's This Day in St. Louis History. I love it. Its 45-foot axle was the largest single piece of forged steel in the world at the time. And it's a little bit of a mystery today. They're not sure what happened to it. Have you heard this story, Fred?
Well, I always thought something was buried in the part.
That's what they say. It's supposed to be buried, but I guess
Like the
some
whole
people...
thing?
Yeah, the whole axle.
Wow.
And somebody went out with the radar and they couldn't find it wherever it was rumored to be. So who knows? And the rest of the wheel was sold for scrap metal.
Okay, this might be a stupid question, but was there, we'd have to go back in time or find someone that knows this, was there any thought given to perhaps making that a more permanent structure just to have it here?
I would think so. And it had been used at the 1893 World Exhibition or something. It was used. We got a used rub.
Maybe OSHA did not approve at that time, right?
That could be.
That would have been fun to watch, though.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the last thing I watched get blown up.
The arena, right?
Yeah, it was the arena.
Yeah.
We pay attention to Price is Right stories, of course, especially because of our friend George Gray. But we talked about this earlier. This is the sound of the woman. But let's set it up. If you won $227,500 in cash on The Price is Right, would you risk it all for one more prize? Well, this is what this woman did. She's a retired vet. She did it on The Price is Right last Friday. It was a special Mother's Day episode. She's playing the lion's share game, if you're familiar. So each time she won a prize, she risked losing everything.
We're glad you kept going because it is $100,000 in cash.
There's George.
The last two numbers are my daughter's birthday. I have to go.
She's going to go for it. Number 27, she's got $127,500 on the line. It is...
Well, her birthday is a lucky one because it's $100,000.
Wow. Oh, that is amazing. I mean, that's a big prize for The Price is Right. The showcases don't usually get to that amount, right?
Right. No. She won $240,150 in cash and prizes from the lion's share game. And there are 40 total spaces on this thing. 5 of them are lose-it-alls. So she could have at any point said the wrong number and would have lost all of it.
So I need to, between now and when George comes on, I got to do a little homework on what that game is specifically, because I know he's going to say, "Oh, thanks for watching."
Yeah,
So I have to come on really informed.
Yeah.
Say, George, I see this. I see this game all the time. So remind me to do that at the top of the hour or something.
All right, and we talked about weird names the other day, but the Social Security Administration, so this is official, just released the top popular baby names for 2025, and well, let me just go over them. The 5 most popular girls' names. Number 5, Sophia. I think that's pretty.
Yep.
Number 4, Amelia. Okay. Number 3 is Emma. Number 2 is Charlotte, and Olivia is still number 1. Emma, by the way, had been holding down the number 2 spot for 6 years. She's dropped. Charlotte has gone up.
Interesting.
And the 5 most popular boys' names in 2025. Henry is number 5. Do you know Henry's?
I do, but a
they
friend of mine in Milwaukee, but is very much older.
I don't
kid.
know
He's
a
like
young.
20.
Do you know a young Henry?
They call him Hank.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe they're coming up. And I kind of love number 4, but I have no one to name this. It's Theodore. Then Oliver, Noah, and number 1 is Liam.
Theodore making
Theodore,
a comeback.
I love
Look at
that.
Next thing you know, they'll say Frederick is making a comeback.
Edith is making a comeback.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes,
Seriously?
I know a baby Edith. That was
Ethel might be the next step there.
Right?
I guess you could call her Edie.
Well, no, they call her Edith, which I kind of love. And finally, in Sue's news, we have today's random fact. The U.S. mail was actually delivered twice a day, at least, until April of 1950. Imagine the attempts to do that now.
I think we're down to just needing it twice a month. I really do. We're coming back.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. President Trump says he supports suspending the federal gas tax due to the war in Iran. Comments from the Oval Office on Monday included Trump saying that he was going to make the move and that gas prices will, quote, drop like a rock, end quote, once the war winds down. But there would need to be congressional approval to suspend the tax, which accounts for 18 cents per gallon. The success of the WNBA can be seen in its deals with various TV partners. A report in Front Office Sports says the collective amount brought in by those deals is $3.1 billion over 11 years, the average annual value $281 million, with partnerships for Disney, NBC Universal, Amazon, Paramount, Scripps, USA Sports, and NBA TV. Gains for Wall Street, albeit small ones, pushing the NASDAQ and S&P 500 to record closes once again. Dow Industrial Average was up 95 points at 49,704. NASDAQ was ahead by 27, and the S&P 500 gained 14. That's Your Money Now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep. Graybar does that.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Stan Musial, he missed a season in his prime to serve his country in the Navy.
Honor a legend on Saturday, May 16th when the Cardinals face the Kansas City Royals. Fans can secure a Stan Musial military bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. This patriotic collectible celebrates Stan's Hall of Fame career and his service to our country. A true symbol of character on and off the field. A tribute worth displaying and remembering. Don't miss it. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Some Sundays are made for the water. Sunday, May 17th, as the Cardinals take on the Kansas City Royals, make it a ballpark day too. That day, you can score a Cardinals boat tote presented by Coca-Cola and Walmart. A classic summer bag that fits right in from the dock to the dugout. It's ready for long weekends, sunny afternoons, and whatever plans you have next. Get tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
From Collinsville to Chesterfield. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm here. We're just kind of pressing buttons a little differently. We're in a kind of a temporary studio this week for some changes that are happening down in the 97.1 FM Talk Studio. So Misty, who's one of the great engineers here, she's kind of walking me through this earlier because, and I've worked in this studio before, but she wanted to show me some of the changes, and she was telling me this, and she's like, Brad is signed in right now on this computer, and then all you have to do is sign out and sign in with your credentials. And I'm like, I don't do that. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, I do not use any of the equipment here at this building. I've learned my lesson. And I think she was rather shocked. I said, this is what I need Ethan or a producer for, because literally, you know this, I do not have a work computer. I dismissed it years ago because it never worked. And I told them, I said, I don't even want it in my office. So I have my iPad, I have my data. I don't even use the company's Wi-Fi. That's how generous of an employee I am, Sue.
Oh, that's very
thoughtful. What I had to tell Misty is, I'm like, and she goes, well, it's the same credentials you have for like your Gmail. I'm like, okay, if you say so, but I still don't know how to sign in, and I don't do it, and I don't really want to do it. So I'm being that difficult person here.
Oh, dear.
But that's okay. So we gave away tickets for this last week, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's a good family-friendly event. And we have John Dolan with us, who's one of the organizers of the Guns N' Hoses Soccer Cup at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park on May 30th. This is all to benefit the Backstoppers. John, welcome back. How are you this afternoon?
Wonderful. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate their support.
Have you been training on the pitch, as they say? I know really very little about soccer, but I can call it the pitch. I know that much from Ted Lasso.
You are correct. You are correct. I have not, but we've got a group of guys that have it. The level of competition is going to be great.
So is this the first year that you're doing this? Obviously, we're very familiar with what happens with the boxing event the night before Thanksgiving, and I apologize for cutting you off, but is it the first time that you're doing the soccer match?
First year outdoors. We did 2 years with St. Louis Ambush on the indoor field. And this year we decided to take it outside.
Heck yeah.
And it's going to be a full field game, 11v11. Highly competitive. Wait till you see these guys. They are great.
John, are these guys who, just can't box and soccer is their jam, or is it difficult to recruit? You know what I'm saying?
It's amazing. We've had to turn people away. There is a huge soccer culture in St. Louis, as we all know. So, we were kind of the powerhouse of soccer for years here. And these younger generations they're all into it really heavy. Great players. We got some ex-college players and might be one or two ringer pros heading in there,
Uh-oh.
I love that. That's pretty cool.
Wait.
So, yeah, because I was going to say, and I think you answered my rhetorical question, but I was going to say, is the most entertainment that we're going to get that night is seeing a bunch of guys, old guys out there, pulling hamstrings. But you're telling me, no, this is some younger guys that are taking control here. All right, this is competitive stuff.
It is going to be great. Yeah, they've been working out for, I guess, probably a month and a half right now. So, yeah, each team's there's definitely a very healthy competition going on.
All right, John.
Great.
Yeah, give us the details, because I mentioned this is a Saturday night, so it's a week from next Saturday. It's the last weekend of the month. It's family friendly. It's out in Fenton at the great soccer park out there, not too far from where I live. Outdoors. What else do we need to know?
Well, it's May 30th. The gates will open at 4:30. The event starts at 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock. Again, family-friendly event. Tickets are $20 for adults, $10 for children. We're going to have a static display out there with the Bearcats and the SWAT teams. There's going to be helicopters, fire trucks. I mean, it's going to be a great evening.
I have on my list here, it says meet and greet opportunities with Hall of Fame soccer players. What's up with that?
Well, so St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame, a lot of the players are coming out. They'll be at the game in attendance, and they're going to be there for meet and greet, autographs. It's like I said, St. Louis is a huge soccer town. So we're looking to sell this out with 5,000 is our seating capacity, and we're hoping to fill it up this year and make it an annual event to go along with Guns N' Hoses with the boxing.
Hey, John, let me ask you this. Backstoppers is who this benefits. Can you talk a little bit about that? How many families right now is Backstoppers supporting?
Right now, we've got right at 100 families with the Backstoppers we're taking care of. We're taking care of a little bit, right around 82 children, I believe. When a family comes into the Backstoppers, the survivors, we stay with them for life. We also take care of officers, EMT, or fire people that suffer catastrophic injuries. Our annual debt service is about $3 million a year to take care of these families.
Wow.
The Backstoppers is unique to St. Louis. if there is a line of duty death and that occurs, basically, we contact the family immediately. They get a check for $10,000 right off the bat to help with any type of funeral expenses or anything. Then in 2 weeks, our financial team comes in and takes over. At that point in time, they become debt-free. We take over their mortgage, car payments, credit card payments, any insurance payments they have. The children, we've got an education fund. The surviving spouse and the children are allowed to go to private schools all the way through university. So we take care of these families. Once they're on board, they stay with us. The children age out at 26 years old, and the spouse we stay with. We've got a lady that's 101 years old right now.
Oh, my.
It's in a nursing home that we're still taking care of.
That's unbelievable. It really is. Now, you said that this is unique to St. Louis. There have to be, are other cities, they have to have looked at St. Louis as a model to say, hey, we got to do something like this. If you had, people trying to get interested in creating something along these lines in other cities to use Guns and Hoses as inspiration?
Very much so, but nobody has matched the level. Police Week, we go to Washington, D.C. with the surviving family members, and the people up there from all over the country, they'd come in and compare stories and what's going on, since they've lost their spouses. And there's not another city in the United States that has the comprehensive program that the Backstoppers is here in St. Louis. It's all because of generosity and the support of the people here in St. Louis.
Well, that's awesome. We gave away some tickets last week. There are tickets available. I think you mentioned kids, but kids 5 and under are free that night. You're going to see law enforcement and firefighters and EMTs and paramedics all match up against one another. There'll be some giveaways and all kinds of fun stuff. Is there a website that we should send people to?
2 things I want to tell you. It's stlgunsandhoses.com, stlgunsandhoses.com. And then at halftime, we're having a special soccer game with it's special needs children that play soccer too.
Aww.
So we're going to have them out there at halftime. So it's going to be a great evening. We're looking for a wonderful family event for everybody. So we'd like everybody to come on out.
They're going to come on out. You're going to pack the place. We'll keep plugging it. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your support, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Take care. That's going to be a week from Sunday on the 30th. That's great. I mentioned I went to this soccer clinic yesterday, and I drove by on Gravois, the St. Louis County Police Department there, which is dedicated to Blake Snyder.
It is.
And I just looked that up because for those of us who've been in St. Louis for a while, I certainly remember this. I covered it when I was over here on this side of the building on KMOX, but Blake was killed in the line of duty at just the age of 33, and that was 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago this October. Can you believe it?
No, I really can't.
There was a call about a man banging on a door at 5 a.m. that October 6th morning, and he engaged the suspect, who then fired on him, and he was killed. And I think he had a little baby at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and his wife. But obviously, if you see his name on that building, and there's a park that's also, I think, named for him as well, it might be kind of a combination deal, because it's over there by Grants Park.
It is.
Right?
It
used to be Clydesdale Park, but it's renamed Officer Blake Snyder Park in memory of him. Very, very sad story, but it's so great what they do for these. I mean, even thinking about the $10,000 check right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because you have so much on your mind and you need to get things organized, just that as a benefit. And
they take care of the kids till 26, Mark. I mean, that's after you're launched, after college. I mean, that's impressive.
Look, I've said this and I say it more now, I think, than ever. I can't imagine. These are men and women who are spouses at home and kids that know that their fathers, their mothers, their wives, their husbands have to go out every day. And you just don't know what the hell is going to happen. And that's why when you're pulled over, you put your hands on the steering wheel and you don't do things because they don't know what they're encountering when they come up to the side of the door. Interesting, unfortunately, along these lines, we're talking about a shooting. Ahmad Hardy, probably arguably the best player on the University of Missouri team, running back, all SEC last year. He's coming back in the fall, but he was shot over the weekend in Mississippi at a melee, as they call it. Frank Cusumano is coming up next. We'll talk about that and the rest of sports.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads, the latest reported by MoDOT is a stall westbound 70 before Tucker. Watch for that on the right shoulder. There was an accident northbound 270 before 64, but they got that moved off to the shoulder. But you know how busy it is there anyway. And an accident eastbound 94 past Florence Road, that one on the right-hand side. Westbound 370 jams at 94, that due to road work. Westbound 70, a slow pocket or two. It's mainly moderate volume out of downtown. and then again at K and Wentzville. 64 is approaching Hampton out through McCausland, slowing at 270, and then west of Winghaven on out through 70. And southbound 270, it's pockets of slow-moving traffic from Olive down through 44. At 44 westbound at Soccer Park, there was an accident, so a slow go there. Eastbound 70 on the Illinois side, slowing at 64. 64 is slowing at 157. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. They do everything from siding to kitchens, and they deliver quality craftsmanship with lifetime warranties. Go to lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Yeah, rare off day for the Cardinals today. They're in Sacramento to take on the A's, which is weird to say, but Cusumano's coming up next.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Accidents happen quickly, especially in rideshares. Whether you're the driver or the passenger, injuries can leave you with more than just physical pain. They bring uncertainty, stress, and questions about what to do next. At Kaufman Townsley, we understand the challenges you face. We're here to help you navigate the tough time, fight for what you deserve, and get you the support you need. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No.
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis Conservative.
Well, I seriously woke up this morning to a flurry of texts about the situation with Ahmaud Hardy at the University of Missouri. I was unaware of it until I woke up this morning, and then I found out, and we still don't know a lot of the details. Frank Cusumano from KSDK is here. I mean, good Lord, Frank, what the hell happened here?
Okay, so this is what I know from a guy I would call almost a surrogate father to Ahmaud in Columbia, Missouri, who is with him as we speak in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So it happened at a concert in Laurel, Mississippi, actually, and no vital organs were struck. He was hit with a bullet in the femur. The femur has been repaired. He was an innocent bystander, and at least 3 cars were struck with gunfire. He's doing reasonably well. The family expects a full recovery, and they really won't know for about a month if he can play this season.
Really?
And I say if after talking to people with the Mizzou coaching staff, is they are very fortunate that they decided to pay Jamal Roberts a lot of money because the backup is a very, very good player. And if for some reason Ahmaud cannot play this season, they're going to have a very quality running back in that backfield.
But you're saying that it could be potentially serious enough to limit him?
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
There's no doubt about it. Now, they won't know for a month, and my friend who's down there with him right now says, hey, the surgery went well, things are okay, but, if you're shot in the leg,
yeah,
you just never know.
So, one of the things that I said, Mizzou puts out their statement, we support Ahmaud, blah, 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 all this other stuff. But there's going to be a point here where I think this is a conversation that needs to happen with Coach Drink in his office. And the question to Ahmaud Hardy would be, what the hell are you thinking? Because these kids have to make better decisions. I'm not saying it's his fault that he was shot. But if you read, what this event was all about, it seems like it was kind of ripe for something like this to happen. And you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars that he's risking and his life.
Yeah, it's a tough call because, can a 20-year-old or 22-year-old go to a concert? If he didn't do anything wrong, he just went to a concert and was in the back of a car.
Yeah, but
I understand what you're saying, though.
Yeah, but did you see the name of the place where the concert was? I mean, it's like it just seemed like everything. It's a biker bar, and it just didn't seem like things were best, for someone who's in college and a football player to be at. But look, I don't know all the details, and we're going to find out more details as they come out. Let's talk about that crappy end to the Cardinals game yesterday, because look, things were looking so good. You're leading 2-0. Jordan Walker smashes another home run, and they get down to what, Frank? 2 strikes and 2 outs, and O'Brien gives up a home run.
I was talking to Andy Van Slyke today, and he was talking about Riley O'Brien, and he was throwing that slider, and it was working really well if you look at the Castellanos swings before that. And then he decided not to throw it, and then the ball ended up in the stands. Here's the thing, too, is I think Riley O'Brien is going to be fine. I mean, the guy throws in the upper 90s. His season stats are unbelievable, but it's now in his last 6 outings, he's had 3 rough outings. He's got to rebound, and he's got to be great, or there's not going to be any chance for the Cardinals to win this season.
By the way, did you see the numbers? I'm sure you did, but maybe share them with the audience, what Mizorowski did for the Brewers over the weekend with, we got pitchers that can pitch, 99, 100. He's throwing 103, 104, 105, regularly. 10 pitches of plus 103 or more. That's incredible.
Yeah, I did see those numbers. That's scary. Now, the Cardinals have a pitcher that throws really, really hard named Liam Doyle, who was their 5th pick in the draft last year. Not quite that hard. And I should say, Mark, he had his first really good outing in Double-A. They're teaching him right now to throw other pitches, and I don't think they're concerned with results because they know he can't just throw a fastball when he gets to the big leagues. He has to throw 3. But when I saw those numbers, I thought about our guy, Liam Doyle.
So the Cardinals have a rare day off. I mean, they got an extra day off last week because of the rain out on Tuesday night, but they're off today, and then they're in, this is even weird to say, in Sacramento to take on the A's, right?
Yeah, it is. And here's the crazy thing. When the game is over, you don't walk right into the dugout. You have to go out to the right field fences to get to the clubhouse, I should say. And so, if Ali Marmol were to get fired, he'd have to walk out to right field and leave the state. Not get fired.
If he was ejected. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
It's almost worth having that happen just to see it.
Yeah, it's really – there's a couple of NHL rinks that are really peculiar like this, but I don't think we've seen one in Major League Baseball for a while.
But the A's are actually pretty decent right now, aren't they?
They're 2 games over 500. They're in first place in their division, and they are loaded with some really good young pitching. It's always like when you're that bad for that long, you had those early picks in the draft, you can't screw them all up.
Yeah, so what further thoughts would you have on this road trip from San Diego? Because obviously you still split it, which is great, and the Cardinals look good. And we have to talk, Sue, I don't know if you saw this, because I think this was Friday night. The Little League home run from Weatherholt was epic. Did you see it, Sue? Oh, do you know what that means when I say that?
No, somebody has to explain.
All right,
that to me.
Frank, explain what happened with JJ in the outfield with the bases loaded.
Yeah, it's a Little League grand slam. It's what happens in Little League if you get a base hit with the bases loaded and the outfielder makes an error and the ball goes to the wall. Your mom and dad say, "Yeah, you got a grand slam."
Oh, that's awesome.
So in this situation, you had Tatis in right field, and I mean it was an easy ground ball, and he just was looking at the runners and not the ball, and it goes all the way to the wall. And I think Weatherholt even stood up. I'm not sure he had to slide it home, and he cleared the bases, and the Cardinals won that game 6-0.
That's amazing.
So the first 2 games of the series were a lot of fun to watch. Saturday was as well, and then unfortunately yesterday they dropped that game. Well, I guess they dropped both the Saturday and the Sunday games. But they face the A's, and then they come back home this weekend, correct?
Yes, they do. And I do want to say that starting pitching, I believe they set a record for fewest hits allowed in a 4-game series on the road. It was 14 hits. I mean, the McGreevy start was magnificent.
It was.
Libitor was really good, and May was good. And even, yesterday, Kyle Lee. So the starting pitching has been quite good. You got to be impressed.
Yeah. And, yesterday was just one of those fluky things that happens in baseball. The Cardinals will come back in the 9th at some point, too, and maybe negate that terrible score from yesterday because that was just disappointing. Any good Bobby Cox memories? The legendary manager of the Atlanta Braves passed away over the weekend.
Well, I mean, there's 2 things that jump out. One is the career leader in getting ejected from games. We brought that up a few minutes ago. And 2 is the way people describe him who played for him, they always say fatherly figure. So the guy really was, a great, players kind of manager. It's a shame he couldn't have won a little bit more because even though he has all those victories and the 15 division titles, it's only one World Series championship. But boy, what a manager, and he's a Hall of Famer, and he'll be remembered forever.
That is kind of amazing, though, that there's only one, world championship there. That's kind of shocking considering how good the Braves were for all that time. All right, Frank, listen, have a great week. Let's see if we can get some wins under our belt for the Cardinals. We'll talk on Friday.
Sounds great. See you,
All right,
Mark.
take care. That's Frank Cusumano from KSDK as we take you into the 5 o'clock hour. Former Senator Talent's going to join us. Look, there's a lot going on geopolitically right now. Certainly the latest on Iran, but the president is heading later on to see President Xi in China. There's some new information with Zelensky in Ukraine to cover with Senator Talent, so we'll get to that. Sue brought this up. We just thought this was fun. On Friday's Price is Right, and we're very close with George Gray, the announcer on The Price is Right, works with Drew Carey every day, and he's from here in St. Louis. Right now, I think he's in Tucson with Mama May, but Friday's show gave away the biggest single game payout in its entire history, and they've been around for 54 years, $240,000. So we'll get to that. Brian Ping's going to join us from Los Angeles. A little bit of a West Coast swing here in the 5 o'clock hour because you got debates underway and getting crazy for the LA mayor and California governor. We'll talk about all that. Plus, audio cut of the day and more.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a stall reported on eastbound 270 at New Florissant. So just be aware, it's really not causing any kind of major delay. Now, we do have a delay on westbound 370 at 141, that due to road work. 64, moderate volume, Kings Highway out through McCausland and again at 270. And again, west of Winghaven out through 70. 70 is your best bet if you have a chance to decide between that and 64. Now, there's moderate volume on southbound 270 that stretches from Olive through 44. Crews have been on the scene of an accident westbound 44 at Soccer Park, but it looks like they at least got that moved out of the way, so it's improving there. And we are jammed on 44 in both directions in front of the Arch grounds. There was an accident reported eastbound at Tucker, causing delays. On the Illinois side, eastbound 64, slowing at 157, and eastbound 70 slows at 64. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
Digging
without having your underground utilities marked is like driving with your eyes closed. It's dangerous and irresponsible. Before you break ground, contact Missouri 811 online or by simply calling 811 to request a utility locate 3 working days before starting.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
It's the law. Sponsored by Missouri 811.
Men. Need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
Hey, it's Matt and Leslie Holiday. When we got to St. Louis, it wasn't long before we started searching for a way to give back.
We visited Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, and we knew this is where we belonged.
Homers for Health has been going strong for 15 years and has made such an unbelievable impact on the hospital. I've won a World Series, but I consider the work we have done at Cardinal Glennon to be the greatest achievement.
Yes, your support truly makes a difference. Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
He calls it a piece of garbage. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump reacting to the latest response from Iran to the U.S. peace proposal.
I didn't even finish reading it. I said, I'm not going to waste my time reading it. I would say it's one of the weakest right now. It's on life support.
The president has warned bombings would resume if there is no deal with Iran. That includes Tehran's inability to obtain a nuclear weapon. On gas prices, the president has a plan to bring them down.
At least while the war with Iran continues to rattle the oil market, President Trump says he wants a suspension of the federal gas tax.
You know, it's a small percentage, but it's still money.
The federal tax on gasoline is just over 18 cents per gallon and would require action from Congress to suspend it. But there has been legislation introduced by both Republicans and Democrats to do just that. Still, President Trump says gas prices will drop quickly once the war is over and the vital Strait of Hormuz reopened.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Wall Street, the Dow gained 95. The Nasdaq added 27. The S&P plus 13 as oil prices rose over $100 a barrel as the Iran conflict drags on. 2 passengers traveling together on the cruise ship infected with hantavirus have been transported to Emory University in Atlanta. The rest taken to a hospital in Nebraska.
The remaining 15 passengers are staying in more hotel-like accommodations here at Nebraska Medical Center for observation, and health officials say these safety protocols will keep the risk of the disease spreading to the general public very low.
Fox's Jonathan Seri in Omaha. 3 people on board the ship died. Virginia Democrats have filed an emergency appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court seeking to stop a lower court ruling invalidating their redrawn congressional maps. And the High Court leaving a woman's access to a widely used abortion pill untouched until at least Thursday. America's listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes and get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a great way to kick off the new week with plenty of sunshine as we go through our Monday afternoon. 76 for the high. Tonight, clear skies will drop into the upper 60s fairly quickly this evening. 52 for the low. Tuesday, sunny. 83 degrees Tuesday afternoon. Then A couple of showers, maybe a thunder shower Tuesday night. Wednesday is sunny and slightly cooler, 75. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, leave me alone. I'm just talking to my friends over at KMOX. That's literally what I was doing. Now that we're in this temporary studio, Matt Pauley was over there, and I was saying hi to him, completely ignoring the time on the clock because I had to walk down to our side of the building. And Fred just came out and yelled at me, so I shouldn't do that again.
Yeah,
so you can take control. If I'm not here, you just go ahead. Take the reins, take control. Take
on
the
that
audience
board,
through, right?
Good luck to all of us.
Well, I'm
Yes.
figuring it out. It hasn't been as bad as I thought it would, but just in case you missed the headlines at the beginning, they're just doing some changes, some updates in our studio that we really need, and the engineers are going to take care of that. They put us in a temporary studio, but things are a little, disheveled because of that. I did make the announcement at the beginning of the show also, and I'm going to mention this one more time just because I'm trying to impress upon people that you have entered into a Hanta virus-free zone, because I'm not hyping that. It's ridiculous to me. Every time I look at Fox, they're talking, and they even had it at the beginning of the show. I have no, control over Fox News and what they do with the aforementioned word that I'm not going to use, but it's just ridiculous how much it's getting hyped and this is what the media does. You're scaring people, and you shouldn't do that. So we're not going to talk about it.
Good.
But having said that, Sue and I are wearing masks in the studio today. So we are taking...
No, we are not.
We are not, nor will we
No.
ever. Nor will we ever. All right, hey, there is a lot of stuff going on that is serious on the planet, certainly when it comes to, China. The president's going to China. We got the Iran situation going on. Former Senator Jim Talent, who's always great on all these issues, with us this afternoon. The latest on Ukraine as well. Jim, how are you this afternoon?
I am fine, Mark. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well for a Monday. I want to talk about the China trip here in a couple of minutes, but it certainly, I guess I'll start the conversation this way on Iran. It did not shock me when I woke up this morning to find out that there was no deal that was reached over the weekend diplomatically with Iran. So we're getting some feelings from this administration, the president, that, a lot of the hard work, maybe the military work might be over, but where do you think we are right now? It's very complicated. The timeline center is stretching out quite a bit here. So is there an opportunity to still get what the Americans are demanding here with the nuclear dust or whatever Trump wants to talk about? Obviously, it's all about the enriched uranium.
Yeah, that is the major issue, I think, at this point. Well, we're going to continue the blockade. What's happened here, Mark, is there was a military campaign to destroy their offensive and defensive military capabilities, and now there's an economic campaign. The blockade is the center of it, but there's a lot of sanction activity going on with the Department of the Treasury. You're hearing Scott Bessent doing these interviews, and they've also broken up a lot of their nodes for financial transactions in the Middle East. That's been made easier because Iran has now totally alienated its neighbors. So the UAE, for example, is not inclined to launder their money anymore. So that pressure is going to continue. The issue for me, or the issue I think, is are we going to take additional military action, and what form will it take in order to put pressure on them? So I think we're going to continue. I think what eventually happens is if they don't cave, we open up the strait ourselves, which we were going to do anyway a week ago, and probably continue blockading their ships and continue this economic throttling of the regime in order to prevent them from reconstituting their capabilities and create a maximum pressure for the regime to collapse.
Yeah, I mean, every indication we have is that this economic blockade is extremely extremely painful for Iranians across many socioeconomic stripes. So, there's definitely that aspect of it that I think is working. But do you have a thought? There was some Wall Street Journal reporting on the son of the supreme leader, who may or may not be alive. I think we're nicknaming him Nepo Baby Tola at this point.
Right.
But he's really not someone that we've seen. We don't really have proof of life of. So there's some questions about really who's running the show right now. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think that there's any single person or agency that's actually running the show. And you can see this because of their obvious disarray in terms of their approach to the negotiations. I mean, when you send 70 people, it's because they're looking over their shoulders at each other. Probably Vahidi, who is the head of the IRG,
right,
has the lion's share of influence, but it would be a mistake, I think, to view the IRG even as a unitary body or a body where all the different parts of it are on the same page. I'm sure that the civilian, like Pezeshkian and the others, have contacts within the IRG, and there's a lot of maneuvering going on there about who's loyal, who's disloyal, what kind of deal people want to cut. So this is going to continue. If the regime does not just collapse, they're going to continue being pressured, and then we'll see what happens when the protesters hit the street, which is almost a dead cert because of the economic impact.
Well, yeah, and that's, I think, we're hoping for. Would you agree or disagree that there really are no moderates in this Iranian regime?
I would agree with that. There are very probably a lot of grifters.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, there are probably a lot of people who are thinking, they have to be thinking, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to the money I got salted away someplace? That's the characteristic of these regimes. They begin mostly with true believers, and then over time you get more grifters and grafters, and that's why the hardliners, and again, hardline is the more the ones dominated by ideology, like Vahidi, are constantly checking and watching out for the others because they're afraid of being sold out.
So let's shift to China. The president heading there for talks with Xi later this week. How do you, let me kind of cross-pollinate here with Iran. How do you talk about that issue with President Xi?
Oh, talk about Iran?
Yeah.
I think the president goes in a strong position because we have dealt with one adversary here in the Western Hemisphere in Venezuela. Chinese have lost that oil. We're dealing with another, the Cubans, and we're dealing with a third in the Middle East with Iran. And of course, that's another strike at China's supply lines for energy. And so, when you use different kinds of power effectively and in a coordinated way on behalf of a consistent purpose, which we are doing, that impresses friend and foe alike. So I got to believe that Xi thinks that they're in a weaker position regarding the United States. Now, this competition or conflict between us and China is over very fundamental differences in national interests, and it's going to continue for a while. I think both sides probably want a lull, or at least they don't want tension to flare up in the short term. So I'm kind of expecting this to be reasonably cordial.
Mm-hmm.
There have been reports that Xi is going to want the president to outright oppose Taiwanese independence, which
that's
I'm
not
going to be
happen.
very
right? Yeah.
I think he's going to maintain the ambiguity that we've had in the past. He's going to want Xi to keep guessing. There'll be discussion about individual trade issues, and there may be some minor agreements that come out of it. But I think it's mostly just sort of we're checking in here, and we both want to control tensions because they're wrong-footed by the things we've been doing, and we have other things to deal with in other parts of the world.
But is the main goal here then overall economic, in other words, to kind of solidify some of the trade deals? That's going in, that's kind of the stated purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, and the main tools that, yes, we don't want another situation. They don't want a situation where the president is vastly increasing tariffs on their products above what he's already done. We don't want a situation where they're constricting our access to rare earth, which they did earlier in the year. Now, the problem when they do things like that is it simply gives impetus to the efforts which we have ongoing all over the world to find different supply chains. So if you dig down deep into this market, it gets pretty interesting. But the broader strategy is that we are using diplomatic tools to firm up our alliances and our partnerships. Remember the president's trip to Asia. We're using economic tools to constrain China and build up our own manufacturing base. And then we're nurturing tools of power that we're going to need in this competition. If you notice, the administration announced they've been doing this for a year, but they just had a specific maritime industrial base plan because we want to rebuild our maritime capability. And that's directly because of China.
Former Senator Jim Talent is here, so let me kind of wind our third kind of conflict into the conversation here. That's Ukraine and Russia. There's reporting in the New York Times today, and the headline is "Fed Up: Zelensky takes gloves off with the Trump administration." With peace talks on ice and Ukraine now more self-reliant, President Zelensky seems to be stepping away from the United States. And look, a lot of this is because of Iran. They point out in this story, negotiators have had no time for Ukraine, and Zelensky has complained. So where does this put the United States in that particular war, which I still can't believe is going on, but it's not showing any signs of wrapping up?
Exactly. Well, Putin said during their quote-unquote Victory Day celebrations that he could see the war coming to an end pretty soon, and I believe that, because the Ukrainians are imposing extra costs and consequences on Russia. It's obviously destructive for the Russian economy and bad for their credibility that the Ukrainians have succeeded in attacking various infrastructure, Russian infrastructure deep behind the lines, if there is such a thing as lines in conflicts anymore. And so I think the pain is getting to the point where Putin may well be seeking an off-ramp. And if you're asking why we haven't been more active in increasing costs and consequences to him, that's the big question. If you ask me, what's my big question about Trump's foreign policy in the first what do we know, 16 months?
Right.
It would be that. And I'm not sure why. Now, the continuance of the conflict has not been just in raw, cold national interest terms, has not been bad for us. I mean, the Europeans are paying for the aid. It's causing them to spend more money on defense. Russia is getting weaker and weaker because of its losses. But I mean, if I was having coffee with Donald Trump, or he was having a Diet Coke and I was having coffee,
yeah, that's better, more accurate, right? Yeah,
that's more accurate. I would say, Mr. President, let your hair down and tell me about your strategy regarding Putin and Russia. And now, if the Russians are looking for an off-ramp, then they're going to come back to the table, and it's going to be along the lines that Trump has proposed, which is, okay, Ukraine will give up some territory, but they get sovereignty and they get security as a result. And he hasn't budged from that. That's the bottom line. Putin is not going to get what he wants, but let's see if he comes back to the table.
All right, now I got to ask you about the politics, and this is going to go back to Iran right now, because now you have a situation, again, I keep talking about the timeline has been way extended. We're almost, believe it or not, to Memorial Day weekend. The gas prices are not showing really any signs of going down. I guess there's talk of perhaps suspending the 18-cent federal gas tax, but I am in the camp, Jim, that believes that this administration has been very precipitous, waters here with all of this moving into the summer in the midterms. And, I kind of sensed from the beginning there's no way this is going to wrap up as quickly as they intended. So how tricky are the political waters that need to be navigated here in the next 6 months?
Well, the military campaign lasted the 5 to 6 weeks that they said it was going to last. So I'll answer the question. I have to say this up front to you, and it's whenever anybody asks me this. If this whole mission is as much in the interests of the security of the American people as I think it is, then a president who refused to do it because he was worried about political consequences would not be doing his job. I mean, I'll just say that to you. Now, and the other thing is, if the arguments that we should not have done this because of what the Iranians might do in retaliation, like threaten the Strait, are also arguments for doing it, because if they're prepared to do these sorts of things, and they are. I mean, they are the lunatics that Rubio has been saying they are, then all the more important to get them when they're weak and to end the threat when they're weak and we're strong, which is what we're doing. Now, this whole issue is why I think we're going to have to clear the Strait. And when they announced Operation Project Freedom, I said, yep, it's about time for that. They postponed it.
Yeah, suspended it right away almost, right?
Suspended it, right. And I think because these negotiations were going on, and Trump does believe, and I think this is true, that eventually they're going to have to give in. What I see us doing is I don't want to say clearing the strait, because I don't think they've mined the strait. I think what's happening is this isn't so much a military threat as it is an increase in risk that has dissuaded the insurance companies from being willing to keep doing business. And that's what's freezing these ships, right? So I think we're going to have to take some steps, and we can do it. We've done it in the past, to reduce that risk to the point where the oil starts flowing. And I expect to see that. And it isn't just because of the politics of it. It's because higher oil prices for too long can have a bad economic effect. Although so far it hadn't. I mean, the economy's doing well. Employment numbers were good. So that's what I think is going to happen. We'll see. Now, in terms of the political impact, you do what's right. You go to the people. And if it was me, I would say, look, they've been attacking and killing Americans and sticking their thumb in our eyes for 47 years. And from my perspective, nobody gets away with that. We're not, I don't like to insult them, but we're not Western Europe. You don't beat the tar out of us and then expect we're going to convene some arbitration under international law.
Well, I'm
we're
with you
still
there.
the United States.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And if it means our guys and gals are doing a great job over there, and I hate the fact people have to pay more. I mean, I can afford it, but there are a lot of people juggling bills at the end of the month, and this is a problem. But we need to see this thing through and show everybody you don't do this to the United States. And so, I mean, that's how I would handle it. As soon as we signal and begin to lower the risk in the strait, I would expect prices to start going down. It'll take a while for them to get back to where they were, probably. But I don't, and we've already seen that. I mean, it's a sign that there might be an agreement or that the risk might be reduced. The oil prices have gone down. So I don't think this is going to drag on maybe as long as you do. But
there's a window here, and by the way, I agree that you got to finish the job. So I mean that, and I think the president knows that it's just a matter of how do you finish the job. That's what we're going to watch here in the next couple of weeks. Centertown, always great to have you on. Thank you so much. We'll see what happens. I think these next 2 weeks will be very, very telling. So
very telling, my friend.
We'll touch base soon. Thank you, Jim. See ya. I want to play this just quickly because it ties in. This was Bibi Netanyahu on 60 Minutes last night, kind of talking about how this might wrap up, where we are, etc. If I can get it to play. Bibi, where are you? Here you go.
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled. There's still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce. Now, we've degraded a lot of it, but all of that is still there, and there's work to be done.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
With what? Special forces from Israel? Special forces from the United States?
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said to me, I want to go in there. And I think it can be done physically. That's not the problem. If you have an agreement and you go in and you take it out, why not? That's the best way.
What if there isn't an agreement? Can it be taken out by force?
Well, you're going to ask me these questions. I'm going to dodge them because I'm not going to talk about our military possibilities, plans, or anything of the kind.
And I'm just trying to get at how long is it going to take to achieve that aim?
I'm not going to give a timetable to it, but I'm going to say that's a terrifically important mission.
Yeah, so that's Bibi with Major Garrett from CBS News that was on 60 Minutes last night. And, when I started talking about this a couple of weeks ago, look, they had a really interesting report about the highly enriched uranium on 60 Minutes. I thought it was pretty good reporting. And, they went into some of the ways that you can get this. And that's what Major Garrett was hitting around. Look, you could send special forces in. They've been training for this. Israeli special forces or U.S. special forces. They've been training for this, but then you got to put boots on the ground.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Latest accident is southbound 141, a little bit south of Gravois, Highway 30. Watch for the right lane and the shoulder to be blocked. And let's see, there was another one. This one was a stall, and it was southbound 270 just before Manchester, also on the right side. And an accident eastbound 44 downtown before Washington Avenue. Watch for that one in the right lane. There really is a jam downtown in that area. Now, if westbound 70 out of downtown is part of your commute, it's fine in the city, a little bit slow past 94 and at K and at Wentzville. 64 has the usual volume. That's Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound is slowing on either side of 170, which is a slow go at 64. And southbound 270, slow pocket 64. We had an accident reported near Manchester, some slow going there. And then moderate volume in pockets, but boy, does it stack up as you approach Highway N out through the 70 split. We are fine, though, on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call Overhead Door Company for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company. Schedule at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
It's so funny. Sue and I are arguing here about how the lion's share game on The Price is Right works because we weren't completely sure. And we want to share a story about this when we actually have the guy who plays the game on The Price is Right, George Gray with Drew Carey, on the phone with us this afternoon. Hello, George. How are you?
Hey, Mark. Hey, Sue. What's going on?
Well, we played this during Sue's News. You know, we have that great feature in the 4 o'clock hour, and Sue pointed out what happened on Friday's show with this retired Army vet. So we played some of the audio, and I want to play it again, but I want you to set up what happened because this was Price is Right history, wasn't it, George?
It absolutely was. So did you talk about what the game is and everything?
No, that's what Sue and I were doing during the break, and we were a little confused. So that's why I thought, why would I talk about it when you're the guy that actually executes the game? So we'll let you do that.
Hey, that's right. Drew doesn't even matter. I'm the guy. Hey. So yeah, what it is, it's a brand new game for Price is Right, and we love it. It's really neat. It's called The Lion's Share, and it's sponsored by BetMGM. See, I even did that.
I saw that, yeah.
And so BetMGM said, hey, we want a really big game, and it's got their logos on it and everything. And they said, we want the prizes to be huge, and we want people to be able to genuinely win lots of big stuff. And
wow.
Said, great. So then I thought, we get to rehearse the game, and anytime they bring out a new game, get to see what it's like. And I immediately was like, wow, this is this is big. This is pretty cool. And so in it, I guess the short version is, I think it's 30 numbers on a screen. So there's 30 balls. Maybe there's 40.
40.
But there's 40. Okay,
Yeah.
look at you. Look at you.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to guess some prizes, like, hey, is this toaster oven, is it $39 or $93? So you could do, one or the other. And if you get that right, now you get a ball, and you can get up to 5. They give you 1 for free, then you can get 4 more.
Okay.
And then they put you in this big hopper, and they all fly around, all these ping pong balls, they all fly around. You're wearing goggles.
It's like a wind machine or so, right?
Yep,
Something like
wind
that.
machine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's really cool. It's fun, good eye candy, and then you grab the numbers, you put them in a little slot, and then, okay, those are your numbers. Now you come back out, you stand next to Drew, and he says, okay, here's the numbers you drew. Pick one first. So you could pick any number up on the board. So let's say, one of them that I picked was 5. So I say, oh, okay, I'll pick 5. And then I say, all right, behind number 5 is, and it can be anything from, it's always big stuff, but It could be anything from like a really nice boat to an exotic car, like a Lamborghini or a Porsche. An amazing trip around the world, or $100,000. So there's 5 $100,000 spots in 40.
So there are also 5 lose it all spots, right?
There's 5 lose it all,
Man.
right? So now we're to her. What's her name? Vanessa? Do you know?
Hold on, I'll find it. Keep going.
Okay, so very nice. A veteran, so it's a real feel-good story. She couldn't have been a nicer person.
Vanessa, yes.
Yeah.
There with her daughter in the audience, and so she picks her, numbers. Well, I have a sheet because I need to be the one to say, hey, behind this number, here's what you won.
Right.
So I already know whether or not you should go for it. It's it's like I can see the blackjack hand before anybody else.
Right.
Can, so I know
Wow.
I know what it is. Well, the first thing she picked was, I think, it was $2,500.
It was.
Okay?
It was.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So that anybody, if you've got 4 picks left, you're going to go for it.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Why would you stop there? So then the next pick she had, and I'm pretty sure the next pick she had was $100,000.
Yeah. So
George.
at this point, let's
Holy
roll. Let's
cow.
roll the audio, because I think then you'll tell the story from here.
We're going to start things off with $2,500 in cash.
All right, you want to keep going?
Yes,
all right,
absolutely.
$25,000 in cash.
Oh my God.
Good. Okay, so you're going to keep on going.
$100,000 in cash.
The last 2 numbers are my daughter's birthday. I have to go.
She's going to go for it.
It's $100,000.
Oh my goodness, daughter's birthday though. She's freaking out.
A mother-daughter trip to Morocco.
$240,150. Vanessa, nice job. Almost $250,000. Which makes her the biggest pricing game winner in Price is Right daytime history.
Wow, there it is, George Gray. History on The Price is Right. Do you even remember when you had recorded that show? It was a long time ago, probably, right?
Oh, I remember. That was a big one. That was really cool because of course, I've got the booth in my ear, the director, because they don't know what's going to happen. The person can play the game however they want. If you're listening right now, what would you do? Even gamblers, if it's your third pick, you hit 100,000. Now you have $127,500, right?
You play it safe, probably.
I would. After that $100,000, I've been done.
But she said it was her daughter's birthday numbers, right?
That's the thing. So you got 2 more picks left. There's 5 lose-it-alls.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people listening. Even gamblers would say, no, I'm tapping out. That's enough. So the fact that she went for it again and got another 100,000, because there's only 5 of them, is amazing. And then where the true, like she had a pair in her pocket because she had the last one. She had over $200,000, and all she had to do was stop, because that could have been a lose it all at the very end. And we would be having a very different phone conversation right now.
Oh my goodness.
She went for it, and it wound up, which is very sweet. She was there with her daughter, and I said, "How about a mother-daughter getaway to Morocco?" So it's really kind of icing on the cake. Yeah, she just crushed it. It was her day.
That's
sometimes
incredible.
It's your day.
Now, the story that I have says that this was, I think you may have mentioned this, but this is the first new game that you've introduced since 2021, right?
Well, that's trivia that somebody like me doesn't necessarily know.
But I guess I bring that up because this has been so successful. Are you noodling on different games now, too?
Well, they always, we always bring out games, or they kind of update a game. We'll do something fun. They'll put change, like the check game. They'll change the way it looks, something like that. So there's always something every season. But yeah, I didn't know that was the first game.
Well, that was reporting. That was some
amazing.
Reporting. So I'm not sure if that's Fox reporting. So, but anyway, we just thought it was cool. Sue had it for Sue's News. We were hoping we could get a hold of you. We'd love to have you in studio soon as well, but we had to catch up on that story because that is just awesome. We need more stories like that because they make us smile, and we got so much crap going on, right?
And you know what? Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care who you are, who you vote for, or what you think. It just puts a smile on your face. It puts you in a good mood, and that somebody that really went for it and then got lucky.
I love it.
Love it.
It is awesome. Hey, tell Mama May we said hey.
I'll do it. I love you guys, and I'll see you in St. Louis shortly.
All right, take care. That's George Gray.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, we look like we've got an accident up north, and it is eastbound 270 approaching the Canal Bridge. We've got a parking lot jam that goes back across the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Westbound 70 out of downtown, not bad. A little slow past 94, moderate volume at K. At 64, still a slow go approaching Hampton, especially through the inner belt. But it also slows at 270, a little bit at Chesterfield Airport Road, and a little bit at 364 out west. Now, southbound 55 is in pretty good shape right now through multiple construction zones, but there's a report of an accident southbound 141 near Highway 30 causing delays. On the Illinois side, you're fine on the Poplar, but 70 eastbound is slowing at 64. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Usually, by this time of the day, I've checked the market. I did not check the market today. It was up just 95 points, closing just below 40 or just above 49,000, just below 50,000. I bring it up because I want to talk about Thomas Helbig and the team from the Retirement Advisory Group. Their website is retirementkey.com. If you head to that website, you can find out a little bit about what they do, what they're all about. You can schedule a meeting one-on-one. Now, I will tell you, and you probably know, we do these seminars with the team 5 times a year. We're already too deep into those, which is kind of hard to believe. The next one likely coming up in June, and we'd love to have you there. They're free events. They're open. All we need to know is that you're coming. But it really doesn't make any sense if I were you and you're worried about your retirement, you're worried about your future. You see the market kind of going back and forth. We know that we have a war now. We have inflation that has not completely slowed. So what does that mean for your retirement? Well, go in one-on-one, sit down with the team, let them create a plan, a strategy for you. This is exactly what they've been doing for decades here in St. Louis. They use their Retirement Advisory Group plan. They'll look at your situation, determine your needs, then you get a custom strategy. And by the way, for just coming in, you get a complimentary, no obligation retirement review and a copy of their latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So request your retirement review today. Don't wait for the next seminar. Go to retirementkey.com, get signed up, or call them at 314-993-9494 for the Retirement Advisory Group.
You know Zero Res, the zero residue carpet cleaner that leaves your carpets truly clean with no dirt-attracting soap or harsh chemicals. Mark Cox here. Don't risk it with the other guys and skip the do-it-yourself disasters that leave your carpet soaked for days and do more harm than good. Keep the mud outside where it belongs, not trapped in your carpets. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet zero resified starting at just $139. 314-474-2020 or visit ZeroResSTL.com.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Yes, and this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
Consistently right.
It's a ritual.
97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
I had some of this audio last week. It's just a comedy of errors if you watch some of the debates in California for either the mayor's race or the race for governor. For example, this is a question about whether illegals in California should get free health care. And this is what they said.
We had a broken immigration system, and now you want to victimize the people who are working here and making the state run.
Congresswoman Porter, your thoughts on the idea of funding health care for undocumented immigrants statewide?
Yes.
And for critics who say that we can't afford it, what do you say to that?
We can't afford to have people who are sick, who are making the rest of us sick. When anyone doesn't have care,
it would be foolish to tell a family that they don't have access to the pediatrician or the family doc, or not be able to use the community health center, where it wouldn't cost us so much to give them access to good health care.
They just never really kind of point toward that word. It's a pretty key word, illegal, right? So then how about the mayor's debate? Should illegals, these are not citizens of this country. Some of you are citizens. We are earned and afforded our rights and privileges here as Americans because you're a citizen.
He is saying that non-citizens, should they be allowed to vote in local elections? Is this a yes or no, Mr. Pratt?
No.
Mayor Bass?
It depends. It's not a yes or no.
Depends on what?
Well, first of all, when you say non-citizens, it doesn't mean they're here illegal. It doesn't mean they're undocumented. They could have green cards. They could be here perfectly legal.
Councilmember Bremen.
Yeah, I would say, again, it does depend.
Okay, well, here's pretty simple. If you're not a citizen, you shouldn't vote. Brian Ping is here, St. Louis native, anchor for KNX Radio in Los Angeles. These things have been heating up, haven't they? How are you, Brian? Good afternoon.
Yeah, they are, Mark, and thank you. Yeah, finally, both these races didn't really seem to have much juice at all until maybe just a few weeks ago. So, yeah, it's getting pretty interesting.
So you vote here in just a couple of weeks, the beginning of June, right?
Actually, some people are voting right now. We've got the mail-in voting. People have been getting those ballots. I got mine a few days ago. So that runs until early June, so that first Tuesday in June.
Let's start with the governor's race, just first and foremost, the replacement for Gavin Newsom. So we have Steve Hilton, who's been doing pretty well in the polls, and then this Tom Steyer guy has been, I think, coming on, and he's nutty, kooky, wacky from what I understand. But what would you say is how the race is kind of shaping up with the names and where these debates have kind of, left the voters right now, and if anything has changed?
Well, the big earthquake in this race was Eric Swalwell when he had to resign amid the scandal that erupted there a few weeks ago. And it was interesting to see where his votes would go. And it turns out one of the beneficiaries of this on the Democratic side is Javier Becerra, former Health and Human Services Secretary. He seems to be the one surging in the polls, and depending on which one you look at, looks like he could get into that top two. And remember, I should remind the listeners that it's regardless of party. It's one primary, and the top two regardless of party advance. So it could be two Democrats, it could be two Republicans, or one of each. So for a long time, it looked like the Democratic field was so fractured that the two main Republicans, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, could be the two advancing, astonishingly, in a blue state to the November election. But Becerra looks like he is gaining some steam here. It looks like, according to the polls, he might be the guy to advance. Steyer has all the money. He's flooding the airwaves with advertisements. It just doesn't seem to be moving the needle as much as he needs at this point. So if I had to guess at this point, between now and 3.5 weeks from now, it's looking like Hilton and Becerra, but who knows what's going to happen between now and then.
So there's been some national discussion. I just don't know how it's been talked about in L.A., that if Vice President Harris, if she had jumped into the race and people expected that things would be a little different. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they would be. I think this would have been her race to lose simply because it is a weak field. Alex Padilla, the senator, people thought that he was probably going to jump into the race. Supposedly, he would have been Gavin Newsom's choice if he had to make an endorsement, which he hasn't done with the remainder of this field. And so it's kind of left the party scrambling a little bit. And Republicans, even if they get a top two or even both of the top two, still have a very tall hill to climb because, after all, this is a heavily blue state. But Democrats are not in a great spot right now. So you will see once they have one candidate to rally around, like Becerra, who's not exactly a controversial lightning rod. Maybe that could work in his favor. A lot could happen between now and June, and then June and November.
So let's shift to the mayor's race now. Karen Bass, the incumbent. Spencer Pratt is getting a lot of attention because he's saying some things that typically you wouldn't maybe hear in a race in Los Angeles.
The reality is, no matter how many beds you give these people, they are on super meth. They are on fentanyl. The DEA statistic says 93% of this is a drug addiction problem. Nithya, Councilwoman Robbins' plan for treatment first. I will go below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her, and we can find some of these people she's going to offer treatment for. She's going to get stabbed in the neck. These people do not want a bed. They want fentanyl or super meth.
I think he's right about that, and he's kind of, given some tough medicine, but people don't like that he's maybe surging just a little bit.
Republican Spencer Pratt is the last thing Los Angeles needs for mayor, and Republican Spencer Pratt thinks public employee unions should have less power, not more. Vote no on Republican Spencer Pratt.
So look, this one's a little easier to gauge because despite the attention on Spencer Pratt, it's very difficult for me to believe. Now, I'm wrong on some of these, Brian, that a Republican's going to win a race in Los Angeles, California.
What's interesting here, and they said that repeatedly in that ad, Republican, they're trying to get that moniker to stick with him, even though that he's officially nonpartisan. It's a nonpartisan race, but also he wants to distance himself from being one party or MAGA or Trump-aligned or conservative. He is running this populist clean up the streets law and order campaign, and if so far as that goes makes him a conservative, then I suppose he is. But if he makes the top two, and right now it's kind of looking better than 50-50 at this point that he does, they're really going to hammer him on that and paint him as the right-wing candidate just by comparison. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this shapes up because he's getting a lot of traction on social media from conservative types. If wealthy conservatives end up donating to him, then he's got to walk a tightrope here because he'll take all the help he can get, obviously, with the nature of his insurgent campaign. But also you're talking about I talked about California being a heavily blue state. Los Angeles is an even more heavily blue city. He's got to be delicate about that, and he might try to distance himself from, say, like a Pratt Hilton ticket or what have you.
It is looking more interesting and intriguing, perhaps, than we thought, which I think is fascinating.
Hey, Brian and Sue, I'm wondering if the fires and everything that people dealt with out there is just going to make people at some point say, okay, let's try something else.
Change, right, yeah.
Yeah, hi, Sue, and I think you're exactly right. I think that it's the fires and it's the homelessness and the dirty streets. And you're kind of getting that sense that people are just fed up and they want change. Pratt has obviously no political experience, no experience really running any kind of city, much less a city of 4 million. So there's hesitation there as far as some of these voters are concerned. But at the same time, there's kind of this sense that, how much more worse can it get? So if he puts the right people around him, and that's a good point. It's just kind of that mentality as to, how much worse can it get? Let's see what he can do.
So we do things, obviously we do a lot of different things here in Missouri, but our primary is in August, the first week of August, and then the general obviously in November. But your primary is in June, but this is still then for a general election in November, then for the runoffs, right?
That's right. Yeah. This is our primary in June. And then after that, it's 5 months to where you can zero in. We'll see where the money ends up going, where the momentum goes. And so that's how it works out here.
That's it, because that's 2 full months of extra money in campaign. That's fascinating to me that campaign will run that long.
Yeah. And what we're seeing here is a lot of candidates are, keeping their powder dry. And I've hardly seen any advertisements on television or online or on the radio for Steve Hilton. And he's been consistently among, the lead pack because he feels as long as he can finish ahead of Bianco, he's been consistently ahead of him and get into that top two. He can get in there without even really trying. Steyer is pouring millions of dollars into these ads. Matt Mahan, who jumped into it late, he's the mayor of San Jose. He's been getting a lot of big money donations from Silicon Valley. Still not doing much for him. They're the ones who feel like they need to get over the first finish line, get past that first checkpoint. But the people who didn't spend a whole heck of a lot leading into this primary election will have that deeper camp. We'll have
in theory, you'll have more money on hand. Yeah,
and of course, California and LA in particular, very expensive markets to advertise. You got to be very strategic about it.
I can't even imagine. Brian Ping, awesome. I'm glad that you hooked up with us. Hope you get to St. Louis this summer. Hey, the Cardinals off to a good start. I don't know if you've noticed.
Absolutely, yeah. They're just down the road. San Diego get a split on the road against them. You'll take it. Yesterday hurt though.
Yeah, yesterday hurt a lot. Absolutely. All right, Ping. We'll see you later.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got an accident on eastbound 270 approaching the Canal Bridge that has caused a major jam back to at least Riverview. So if you're headed into Illinois, bear that in mind. But 70 westbound is thinning out nicely. It's now good from the city out through Wentzville. 64, still some moderate volume around Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound slowing at McKnight and again at Big Bend. And out west, it's a little slow westbound at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Now, 270 northbound slows just south of Ladue Road in the construction zone. And 55 is in good shape. We also look good on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support the Guns N' Hoses First Responders Soccer Cup, May 30th at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. Law enforcement battles firefighters and EMTs on the field, all for a great cause. 971talk.com/events.
Brought to you by Capital One.
Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts, and Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bankguy. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Hey, if you have some needs for maybe making your house a lot more beautiful, Banner Construction would love to help you out. They specialize in James Hardie fiber cement siding. What the heck is that? Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful product that home builders in particular really love these days. But if you have light plain vinyl siding that doesn't have a great warranty that maybe fades, then you want to look at some new siding, and you can do that with Banner Construction. Really, when it comes to considering any kind of home improvement or remodeling project, the biggest factor is who you go with, right? You want to go with the best, and that is Banner Construction. One of the reasons that they have such an excellent reputation is because of the products they work with on a regular basis. James Hardie, I mentioned their fiber cement siding. They're an elite Hardie installer. You don't want to go with someone not used to the products or the company doesn't put their trust in them. There's a true story. I had lunch with the gang from Banner a couple years ago, and they were telling about a former Cardinal, won't mention the name, that had a Hardie siding project that just went to heck. It was not good. Had called Banner to fix it. It wasn't Banner that was doing that in the first place. So if you have any kind of siding needs, if you have window needs, beautiful Pella replacement windows, they can hook you up with that too. It's a free in-home design consultation. Get started by calling 314-569-1050. The website, bannerconstruction.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Data centers don't wait, and neither should your supply chain. From power and connectivity to racks and critical power, Graybar brings the products and the experience data centers need now. And with deep inventory and logistics expertise, we keep projects moving from first delivery to final install. With hundreds of locations and a nationwide delivery fleet, we help you bring facilities online, on time, and on budget. Yep, Graybar does that.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, we got Tech Talk Tuesday coming up for tomorrow. George Rosenthal in the 5 o'clock hour. That's always fun. It's just so funny because George will circle back with me, in the morning, and he'll have some topics, and they're always great topics, but we never get to all of them,
because, it's too much.
Yeah, there's so much stuff to talk about. So we'll have a lot of fun with that. That's one of my favorite segments, and we do it every week on Tuesday. All right, so I'm a little challenged here with my left hand is doing some things that my right hand usually does in this studio because we have a temporary studio this week. So I'm going to try to do this the right way and have everything work the way it's been. Oh, see, I already screwed it up. Let's try this.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
So this is incredible. And what's interesting is I had some audio last week that was sort of similar to this, and I never played it. It was a cop that was talking someone down from a suicide attempt. And this is similar. And this just happened a couple of days ago. So this is May 7th, whenever that was. Was that Friday or just last week? I'm not good at the dates, right? It's the 10th today or it's the 11th. So we'll just say that was Thursday or Friday. Can you confirm that for me? There is a woman, Thursday. There's a woman, you know what, Sue? I potted down your mic. That's how stupid I'm being this afternoon. There's a woman that is literally dangling from a skyscraper ledge in New York City. And she's on the outside of the glass that protects you from jumping over. So she jumped over the glass, and it looks like she's ready to take her life. And, we talked about the backstoppers and the first responders and the great soccer game that they're doing for Guns N' Hoses, sort of a spinoff of the soccer event. We don't have enough appreciation of how these men and women deal with, this woman here, you're going to hear, she is in mental crisis. She's about to jump off a building, and here's what happens.
Okay? Listen, whatever you're going through, we can fix it. We can try to fix it, okay?
Take me to the hospital.
Yes, we'll take you to the hospital. I'm positive. We can do whatever you want to do. Okay? Anything is better than this, okay? Please let me help you.
We're going to do this together, okay? We can sit here for 10 minutes. We can sit here for half an hour. I just want to make sure, look at me in my eyes, okay? I want to make sure that you're safe and that you're okay. Like I said, whatever it is that you may be going through, okay? I want to help you. Look where we're at. We have the best view in the city, right? And we're here together, okay?
That is awe-inspiring. And let me tell you something.
gosh.
That second voice, so the first voice is a guy, and I didn't play the whole clip, but he was probably about 10 feet away from her, and he asked permission, can I move closer? And he moves closer, and he grabs her hands, all right?
Oh.
Not that she couldn't pull away and still jump. But the second guy was on the outside of the glass, on the ledge, right next to her, but he was being very careful.
Yeah.
You could hear it in his voice
Yes, you
because
could.
they did not want to lose her, and they
Oh,
didn't
my
lose her.
gosh.
But, you have to deal. So, this whole thing with Mamdani and social workers and blah, 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 these men and women, they're trained in emergency situations, and this is what they do on a regular basis, and that should be highlighted. And we hear all this stuff
Agreed.
about the cops. The mayor of New York City, and maybe he will do this, or maybe he has, the mayor of New York City should highlight that
Yes.
and talk about it.
Traffic from the 90.